Hi guys, welcome to the Truth Factor. How's everyone? Let me see here. Trying to get my sorry guys, I got headlines to go over. A lot of stuff. Not a lot of stuff, but enough. Hey Brandy, how are you, honey? And just when I thought there wasn't going to be a whole lot today, it seems like there's still a lot of headlines, guys. I think I could do 50 videos in a day, and I still wouldn't be able to cover everything, guys. I just don't think it's possible. It's been kind of crazy. Okay, let's see who's here. Hey, hello, Amanda. Yep, Central Time Zone here as well, 5 o'clock. Hey, Brandy. Hi, Colleen. All right, good to see everyone. Hi, not me. How are you? Good to see you again. It's been so long. I feel like I've been on all day, even though I haven't. Anyway. Still Bob Fetton. Oh, no one is ugly. Mercy me, mercy, mercy, mercy. We cannot claim those tags. Okay, so anyway, we're going to start off with this article from CBS. It says that Virginia Beach passes a resolution to make itself a Second Amendment sanctuary. Virginia Beach plans to make the city a sanctuary for gun owners in anticipation of gun control legislation it expects to see passed into state law, since the legislature is now controlled by Democrats and the sitting governor Ralph Northam is also a Democrat. The Virginia Beach City Council, by a 6-4 vote, adopted a resolution Monday declaring itself a Second Amendment constitutional city. It stated its continued commitment to support all provisions of the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia, including the right to keep the people to keep and bear arms. Under the resolution, the city government will not use its resources to prosecute anti-gun laws, even though any state laws limiting gun use would supersede the local government's authority. It also urged Northam and the Virginia General Assembly, which is in session this week, not to take any action that would violate freedoms guaranteed by the state or federal Bill of Rights. Northam, in a Facebook video posted Tuesday, responded, "Our 8 pieces of gun legislation don't threaten the Second Amendment. They are all constitutional," he added. "We have no intention of calling out the National Guard. We're not going to cut off people's electricity. We're not going to go door to door and confiscate people's weapons. We're going to pass common sense legislation that will keep guns out of dangerous hands and keep Virginia safer." During Monday's special session, which was open to the public, council members heard from citizens and leaders on both sides of the issue. The majority of people who addressed the council supported passing the proposed resolution. Many of those who favored the measure cited self-defense and the Constitution as the main reasons to approve the measure. You are our local government. However, you do not have a duty to protect us, said one citizen. Other proponents added concerns about slow police response and fears about being viewed as felons if they don't give up their guns under laws they fear Democrats will pass. Former GOP Congressman Scott Taylor, who represented Virginia's 2nd Congressional District for a term called gun control bills, Democrats are considering in their legislation unfair, unjust, and unconstitutional. Yeah, that's why they're going to close down. We did a story this morning, read an article about it this morning. They want to close down all of the gun ranges there, shooting ranges. So, yeah, and the only ones that are supposed to remain open, you have to have your driver's license and things of that nature. So they'll know where you live and what weapons you use when you bring it to the range, right? So that they can come get it later. Good stuff there, guys. The bills being presented in Richmond are a very far cry from the poll-tested slogan of common sense gun laws that many voters thought they were getting, and are not narrowly focused on actually solving a problem, said Taylor. One citizen showed up wearing a gun holstered on his waist, spoke in favor of the proposal, and received a warm reaction from the crowd. There were only a few remarks made in opposition to the resolution, focusing on concerns about restricting the true intent of the Second Amendment. One speaker who opposed the resolution referred to both it and the debate as a dog and pony show. Others, in touting the gun rights protections, claimed there was a racial element to gun controls law in the U.S., that they had first come about as a way to keep former slaves from owning firearms after the Civil War. Those arguments were countered by citizens who said any historical claims to owning a gun were nullified by the fact that gun ownership rights were certainly not extended to women or other races. Several council members also spoke before voting began, including council member Aaron Rose, who recounted his memories of being a student at a Virginia Tech during the 2007 mass shooting. He voted against the resolution. Others noted that the fact that the Virginia Beach suffered a mass shooting in late May last year that claimed the lives of 12 people and injured several others. We would never do anything to dishonor the memory of the people that died that day, council member James Wood said. And that's the article. So apparently he's saying he's not going to take all your guns, he's not going to do this, and he's not going to do that. But I guess you'll just have to wait and see how it all fans out, what bills actually get passed. This article here from Brett Baer also, it says, Hawkins, Virginians signal, come and take it to the Democrat gun grab. Virginia gun owners are making it clear their plans for non-compliance as Democrats prepare to take control of legislation, and Governor Ralph Northam, the Democrat, promises a war on guns. On January 7, 2019, Breitbart News reported 118 of Virginia's local governments have declared Second Amendment sanctuary status since the November 5, 2019 elections gave Democrats enough seats to control the state legislature. From those elections till now, cities, counties, and municipalities in the state have proclaimed their plans to refuse enforcement of any new gun controls which the incoming majority might pass. In many cases, the sheriff of a certain county has led the charge. For example, Amelia County Sheriff Ricky Walker made clear there will be no enforcement of the laws that infringed the Second Amendment. Walker went so as far as to stress he would not follow an unconstitutional gun control, even if it ordered to do so by a judge. Culpeper County Sheriff Scott Jenkins has not only pledged that there will be zero enforcement of gun control that infringes on the Second Amendment rights, but that he is also ready to deputize thousands in his county to defend gun rights. Governor Ralph Northam, a Democrat played his part as pro-gun cities, counties, and municipalities stacked up, saying he had no problem with the stands taken for the Second Amendment, yet making clear there would be consequences for a refusal to enforce gun control. Representative Donald McEachin, a Democrat for Virginia, suggested perhaps Northam should send in a National Guard to force gun control compliance once Democrats take over legislation. Throughout this time, Democrat legislators put forward gun controls to be considered once the 2020 session opens. These controls include an assault weapons ban, a bill to criminalize private gun sales, and legislation empowering judges to issue orders to seize firearms. Governor Northam has been very focused on an assault weapons ban throughout, but changed from the outright ban to the option of registering the gun or surrendering it as the Second Amendment sanctuaries continue to occur. George Mason University Walter E. Williams warned Virginians not to fall for the restriction trick. Nothing that knowing who owns that what weapons is the first step to confiscation. And that's exactly what I told you guys this morning. That's why, they want to close down the gun ranges and make them all government owned or have them government run, and have you come in to use them with your license so that they can write down your address, all that good jazz, and then again, know what you're using and where you're at. George Mason, let's see. So there's a great divide. On the one hand, Democrats led by Governor Northam are targeting Virginia's guns. On the other hand, Virginia gun owners led by everyday citizens, sheriffs, county commissioners, and municipal officers holders are making it known that the war on guns is not welcome. It's a 21st century come and take it moment. And that's the news for Virginia today. And any gun law is unconstitutional. And that's exactly it, not me. Any gun law is unconstitutional. It is exactly unconstitutional. Then we have lots of other news, guys. We're going to start here, though. It's crazy. Yes, it is crazy, Kevin. It is indeed. How are you? Okay. Let's get down to what's going on in the Middle East right now. According to Zero Hedge, at least 5 missiles strike American base north of Baghdad. The Jerusalem Post has apparently picked up reports from Iran's Fars news agency claiming that at least 5 rockets have hit Tajah, potentially placing the lives of American troops in peril. That means the reports of the attack, which were first circulated by unconfirmed accounts, have now been vetted by the mainstream press. Though some on social media claim that people on the ground in the area don't see any signs of the attack and are skeptical that this might be another Iranian attempt to disrupt media hacking. And as we noted below, markets are tanking the news seriously. Get ready for more hysteria about the dawn of World War III. Following 4 days of increasingly belligerent threats from Iran and its leadership, unconfirmed reports claim 5 missiles have just struck a U.S. Base in Iraq. The base is called Tajah Camp, and it is situated about 17 miles north of Baghdad. Notably, U.S. troops are housed at the camp. If this is an Iranian attack, it's notable, and that it's coming at the end of a 4-day of mourning for General Qasem Soleimani, who was killed last week in audacious drone strike ordered by President Trump while Soleimani was attended a meeting in Baghdad. Unanimously, the heavily followed, though not official, Twitter account, Iran tweeted a threatening message a few hours ago. Though the reports are unconfirmed, news of what could be the beginning of Iran's threatened retaliation for the killing of General Qasem Soleimani inspired a slight pop in crude futures. So obviously they're having some kind of effect on the stocks. I want to read this next article to you. Kind of a little troublesome to me, guys. See, no, I think it's trying to find it. Sorry, I have so many articles, guys. It's not even funny today. Okay, here it is. I found it. Okay, according to RT, Iraqi militias threatened to send U.S. troops home in coffins and target civilians if they re-elect Trump. So did you hear that, guys? Iraqi militias threatened to send U.S. troops home in coffins and target civilians if they re-elect Trump. Is this not ridiculous? The most absurd thing you ever heard in your entire life? It is for me. More people killed at the funeral than in the strike. Yeah, right? It says Iraqi militias threatened to send U.S. troops home in coffins and target civilians if they re-elect Trump. The U.S. public must persuade Donald Trump to withdraw the American troops from Iraq or become the target of retaliation. Iraqi militias, whose commander was killed in the airstrike on Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, warned. The deputy commander of Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces, Abdul Mahdi al-Mahdou's Mohandes, was among the Iranian and Iraqi officials killed in the U.S. operation in Baghdad on Friday. And the PMF, which unites some 40 militias and has around 150,000 members, promised that they won't let American criminals get away with murder. All retaliation options are on the table. No red lines should hinder our revenge. Jihad al-Talabawi, a commander of one of those factions within the group, told The Independent, "We shall convulse the ground underneath the American army's feet in Iraq. These are not the slogans, rather truths in which we believe." The threat was directed at a fool and a blackmailer. Trump had his administration and the U.S. military stationed in Iraq, but Talabawi also had plenty to say to ordinary Americans. He called upon the U.S. citizens to pressure the Trump administration to pull out American troops from Iraqi territory before we send your soldiers back in coffins. If the American people re-elect Trump to the U.S. presidency in 2020, this would mean they support his crimes. This may challenge our position towards the American people. All American interest in the region will be at risk. Anti-American sentiment was already strong in Iraq as local protesters tried storming the U.S. embassy in Baghdad before the new year, but it skyrocketed after the U.S. strike against Soleimani, which Washington carried out without even notifying the Iraqi authorities. Now, why would you notify them if you're going to try to make all these people want notification? Just give me a break. In the wake of the attack, the Iraqi parliament passed a resolution calling for the removal of U.S. and other foreign troops from the country. On Monday, Prime Minister Abdel Abdul Mahdi spoke with the U.S. ambassador to Baghdad, Matthew Tuller, about the importance of mutual cooperation on implementing the withdrawal of foreign troops and preventing the descent into open war. But both the U.S. President and the Secretary of Defense said they are not ready to leave yet, insisting Iraqis want them to stay. So,
I don't know.
We have.
They just said on Fox that U.S. military have been under missile attack from Iran. They're in Iraq. They're bombing them in Iraq at the military bases from Iran.
I know, I just talked about it. 5 missiles. Where have you been?
In there watching the news.
Yeah.
but I'm.
Hubby's always late sometimes.
But I don't understand. That's already an act of war. Why ain't them places that sent them missiles leveled?
Right.
That wherever they fired them from, them places should be leveled to the ground right now.
Yeah. I don't know, hon. Let me see. Yeah. So, let's see. We have and it's not working. Okay. So okay, so then I told you about the If you're going to rob and kill me, you need to give me 3-day notification. You're funny, Kevin. Well, I've got this, okay? And I don't care who's making the threat. I'm letting him know that whoever's out there throwing threats around, me and my entire family are voting for Trump, and no idle threat that they impose on the United States to try to keep my president out of office is going to scare me into submission. I hate it for him. So, I've made my say, and they can come and get me if they want. But I will vote Republican from the grave. You better believe that. The Democrats won't get my vote. Ever. That's right. Did you hear my husband? Him either. He said ever. Yep. I just did the article Zero Hedge. They've gotten 5 missiles at the Tahaj base there in Iraq. North Baghdad. North Baghdad is where it is. Tahaj base. Cody? Yep, that's confirmed, hun. Tahaj, North Baghdad. And we just talked about the threat they gave us. You need 3 days. What the heck you need 3 days, Kevin? Come on. Don't say you need 3 days. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Okay, anyway. Sputnik News says, you started it, we will end it. Iranian news outlet post mocks Trump assassination video. This is from Sputnik. Iran's Fars news agency, the FNA, is the latest organization to publish media depicting the assassination of the U.S. President Donald Trump, warning U.S. leaders that if Washington starts a war, Tehran will end it. As the world awaits the next moves by Washington and Tehran following recently heightened tensions brought about by the assassination of commander of the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Qasem Soleimani, the FNA, the outlet regarded by many as Iran's semi-official news agency, published a short clip on Monday showing one potential outcome of a conflict. A gunman is shown assembling his rifle and pairing it at an image of Soleimani before taking aim at the U.S. president in the video, entitled, "Hey, U.S., you start it, we will end it. Hey, U.S., if you begin the war, we will end the war. In the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful," reads the video caption. Here is the video shared by the Middle East Media Research Institute. Be warned, it contains graphic footage. But I don't see the video. There might be I guess you have to click on the link. I'm not going to play you the video, guys, because I'm not going to get completely outraged. But you can click on it if you want. This article is in the Wixit site. As always. And it's under probably global. It might be under US, but it is under global. Trump and 2 Secret Service agents are seen collapsing to the ground after a gunman opens fire. The 40-second clip borrowed footage from the November 2016 presidential campaign rally, where Trump was rushed from the stage mid-speech due to a reported disturbance. Immediately in front of the stage, an unidentified individual shouted, "Guns!" Secret Service agents and Reno police officers immediately apprehended the subject. Upon a thorough search of the subject and the surrounding area, no weapon was found. The Secret Service said that the 2016 follow-up statement, an unarmed individual was arrested. Then the Republican presidential candidate returned to the stage shortly after. The mock assassination video comes just days after the Hustler magazine received mixed reviews for its Christmas card that depicted a lifeless Trump with multiple bullet wounds spilling trails of blood into the streets of New York. I just shot Donald Trump on Fifth Avenue and no one arrested me. A man holding a smoking gun read the cartoon playing off a notorious remark by Trump during the 26 presidential campaign. While some alerted Secret Service via Twitter about the graphic holiday card, others argued the porn magazine was practicing free speech, which is protected under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution.
That's not free speech.
That's not free speech. I'm sorry. That is not free speech. That's a terroristic threat. And in my opinion, the person needs to be punished for this, not to only mention what happened whenever they just talked bad about Bush, the Dixie Chicks. Do you guys remember the Dixie Chick problem? Give me a break.
All right, the guy that done that in 16 at the rally or whatever.
Yeah.
What they never said that what kind of trouble he got into, did they?
They just said he was arrested.
Yeah, but that is the same as hollering fire in a crowded place. And that's a felony, you know, because you're endangering lives by hollering that, even if it's not true. So that guy, I mean, I don't know what kind of trouble he got into, but he should have got the same penalty as someone who hollers fire in a crowded building.
Right.
But I guarantee you nothing happened to the guy.
No. They arrested him supposedly.
Yeah, he probably got let right back out.
Okay, this is also from Sputnik News. It says live updates. The U.S. is preparing for a possible Iran response after Soleimani murder, as Quad's leader buried. Earlier in the day, the U.S. issued a warning to ships sailing through the waterways in the Middle East, saying there is a possibility of Iranian action against U.S. maritime interest in the region. The U.S. is preparing for a possible Iranian response after its top military commander, Qasem Soleimani, was killed in a U.S. drone strike at Baghdad International Airport on the 3rd. On Monday, CNN reported, citing an official, that the Pentagon had deployed 6 B-52 strategic bombers to Diego Garcia, an island based in the Indian Ocean, for potential use against Iran if ordered to do so. Soon after the attack on Soleimani, Tehran vowed a response to what it called an act of state terrorism by the U.S. President Donald Trump, answering by saying that that his country wants no threats, and said that the U.S. would hit fast and hard in case Iran retaliates. Let's see. There's like a detailed account minute by minute, but I'm just giving you the highlights because I've covered so much of this. The people that said Obama would be killed because he's black made me so mad. You don't say that is illegal for even saying it. I told them. Exactly, Kevin, right? Okay, and this comes from Sputnik News as well, and it says the U.S. doesn't want to start a war with Iran, but is prepared to finish one. Pentagon Chief Esper reports from Sputnik News. It says American and Iranian officials have exchanged a series of back and forth threats in recent days in the aftermath of the U.S. assassination of senior Iranian military commander in Baghdad last week. The United States is not looking to start a war with Iran, but we are prepared to finish one, U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper said Tuesday, speaking to CNN. Justifying the recent U.S. decision to assassinate Revolutionary Guard Quds Force General Soleimani, Esper said Washington had persuasive evidence of Soleimani's alleged malign plans to harm Americans, which was more than razor thin. The fact of the matter is Soleimani was caught red-handed on the ground in Baghdad, one terrorist leader of the terrorist organization meeting with another terrorist leader to synchronize the plan. Iran. Additional attacks on American diplomats, forces, or facilities. I think we took the right action to remove these players from the battlefield, Esper said. The second so-called terrorist leader, the Pentagon chief, was referring to was Abu Mahdi al-Mahadis, the head of the Baghdad allied Kataib Hezbollah Shia militia movement, who was killed along the Soleimani Friday morning after the convoy they were traveling in was targeted by U.S. Reaper drone. Esper noted that the U.S. would like to see the situation with Iran de-escalated and that the U.S. officials want Tehran to sit down with us and begin a discussion about a better way again. He noted that the U.S. would not withdraw troops from Iraq and needed to retain its military presence in the country to combat terrorists. Earlier Tuesday, a NATO official told reporters that the alliance would be temporarily repositioning some of its troops out of Iraq as a precaution amid the escalating tensions in the country over Soleimani's killing. The move followed reports that German forces were preparing to withdraw some of the troops engaged in training operations and the suspension of NATO's forces training activities. Iraq's parliament voted to expel U.S. troops out of the country on Sunday. Trump threatened the country with sanctions and said he would not withdraw until Baghdad compensated Washington for the U.S. military facility in the country. Iranian officials threatened to avenge Soleimani's death, leading to concerns that the thousands of U.S. civilian administration and the estimated 5,000 U.S. troops stationed in Iraq could be targeted. Soleimani was killed in the early hours of Friday morning as the motorcade he was in was destroyed in the U.S. strike at Baghdad International Airport. President Trump and the U.S. State Department accused the Quad Force commander of harboring imminent plans to target Americans and U.S. interests. Before his death, Soleimani coordinated Iran's extraterritorial military and intelligence operations for over 2 decades and was involved in multiple anti-terrorist campaigns across Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And they keep hollering they want proof, but I guess a dead American contractor and all the bombs that they have been have taken at their bases the last 2 months, as well as the under siege attempt for the American embassy is nothing. It just is ridiculous. There was also, I know that one mentioned the Canada. It mentioned Germany's withdrawal, but we also have Canada troops that are temporarily pulling out of Iraq for safety reasons. Some Canadian troops, according to RT, stationed in Iraq are being moved temporarily to Kuwait for safety reasons. Defense Chief Jonathan Vance has announced that Iraq's parliament recently called for all foreign troops to leave the country. The move was made public in a letter to the families of Canadian soldiers in and near Iraq, posted to Twitter on Tuesday. Canada has about 500 troops in Iraq and out of 800 in total in the region, and it's not clear how many are leaving or for how long. The decision to temporarily relocate was made in conjunction with NATO and other Canadian allies. Vance continued, adding that Canada has temporarily paused its military activities falling under the Operation Impact and NATO mission Iraq. The Iraqi parliament passed a resolution earlier this week urging an end to the presence of foreign troops after U.S. airstrike killed Iranian General Soleimani at Baghdad airport, while U.S. President Trump has threatened Iraq with massive sanctions if it is forced the U.S. to withdraw without paying for any expenses. Airbase at the American-built, a letter published Monday appeared to show the U.S. planning to withdraw from the country. The Pentagon has fervently denied this case. Germany announced on Tuesday that it will move some of its troops stationed in Iraq to Jordan and to Kuwait. And then I have an article about that from Germany, from RT, and it just says Germany will put some of its troops from Iraq following Iraqi parliamentary resolution calling on the military to move. It says some Germany's small contingents of troops in Iraq will be moved to neighboring Jordan and Kuwait, the German government said on Tuesday. German Defense Minister Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer and Foreign Minister Heiko Maas wrote to lawmakers that the troops stationed in Baghdad and Taji would be temporarily thinned out. 30 out of the estimated 120 German soldiers are set to be redeployed. The German government says that they could be moved back if their training mission resumes. The move comes a day after German Chancellor Angela Merkel spoke with the Iraqi Prime Minister Adel Abdul Mahdi about the issue. Merkel had stressed the importance of continued cooperation between Iraq and the EU in the fight against terrorism. So we've got Canada and German pulling their people out. Crazy stuff. Let's see. Oh, Aiden's asleep. Okay. Let me see. Oh my God. They're getting upset and they're watching the news. I can hear them cussing, guys. Hopefully y'all don't hear them. I have a clubfoot tub and Stinky would hide in the corner I couldn't reach. Talk about stench. I hear you. Okay, so we got some new intel coming in. Let's see. Let's see what this says here. Okay, this is from the Huffington Post. It says, the U.S. facilities in Iraq attacked. The strike on the al-Assad base Wednesday morning, local time, appears to be the first known retaliation to President Donald Trump's killing of General Soleimani. Facilities in Iraq that house American military forces came under attack Wednesday morning, local time, according to the reports for Voice of America and Fox News. Iran has claimed responsibility for the attack on al-Assad military base, according to the reporter from the New York Times. The assault came days after the U.S. strike on Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, for which Iran promised revenge. More than 5,000 American troops are in Iraq as a part of the effort to fight self-described Islamic State. The U.S. military did not immediately respond to Huffington Post for a request for comment. There's that. But then we also have one that just came in from the other place I don't like. This is from CNN. But it says, where earlier we had 5 reported, it says there are 10 rockets that hit the airbase in Iraq where U.S. troops are located. At least 10 rockets hit al-Assad Air Base in Iraq, which houses U.S. forces. A Sunni commander of the parliamentary forces in a nearby town told CNN. Qatar al-Obadi, a commander in the nearby town of al-Baghdadi, said that the shelling has stopped. For now, President Donald Trump visited the base in December of 2018 to visit troops after Christmas. Vice President Mike Pence also visited this base in November of 2019. The attack follows last week's deadly U.S. drone strike that Trump ordered to kill. You know, of course, they're going to continue to remind you that. So that's the latest, guys, on what's going on in Iraq. They're reporting now that there's been 10 hits. Let's see.
Yep, I agree. Well, what gets me is these bases that they're attacking over in Iraq, ain't them, are they just troops
And
U.S. or they half built?
And again, the AP has an article. It's in the website. Yes, that's our base. It's not our base, but it's where American soldiers are housed or kept or whatever.
Yeah, so
I guess it's like
Iraq then. Iran's attacking Iraq then.
They have been. They've been doing this for a long time. That's not nothing new, but that's what I'm saying. They've been doing these attacks for 2 months. And to me, that's enough proof. There's an article from AP that says Trump is pressed to detail what prompted the strike on Iran general. I mean, come on, guys. How did we not just see the U.S. Embassy under siege? Did we not just have American contractor killed? Have they not been for 2 months striking the U.S. bases over there? How much more are we? I mean, what more proof do they need? This is ridiculous for them to continue somebody in Washington needs to do their job. And to continue to try to, oh, we need proof, we need proof. Well, is that not enough damn proof? Excuse my French, guys. I'm mad.
I guess Brady and Matthew are asleep, so
Okay.
they don't want anything.
Then let's see here. Okay. I have a article that says from Zero Hedge that says who started it. A reverse timeline of U.S. Iran retaliations. We as Americans are now living in different realities. The almost completely partisan response to Donald Trump's decision to assassinate one of Iran's top leaders proves that once and for all. To listen to Mitch McConnell versus Nancy Pelosi and just about all the underlinings argue about the execution is to almost believe each are talking about different events. It's surreal. Trump hit Iran, he says, because Iran hit us. Trump calls Soleimani a terrorist mastermind. Iran calls the assassination an act of terrorism. Are both right? Who knows? But who started this whole mess? The truth is, a few politicians or commenters on the mainstream left or right vote to ask who started the now open shooting conflict between Iran and America. Don't get me wrong, both sides starkly disagree or whether Trump's assassination of Major General Qasem Soleimani was strategic. It wasn't, or whether the president ought to have sought congressional approval. He should have. Still, both Democrats and Republicans almost unanimously believe that whether war is the answer or not, Iran is ultimately in the wrong, the villain of the whole sordid tale. I, on the other hand, sympathize aside, have the luxury of mostly intellectual independence, and I am a historian. Therefore, let me address the title question in a rather uncomfortable manner. The answer, I surmise, is complex, but to trained scholar or regional analysts, unsurpassing the United States of America. This is not to say Iran hasn't played a nefarious part of its own, or that there was zero blood on Soleimani's hand, or that there aren't human right violations where the Islamic State. My narrow but profoundly consequential assertion is simply this. Between the two adversaries, it was the United States that started the insults and provocations that got us here, so to speak. So where is here exactly? A state of war, of course. The targeting killing of sovereign nations' top uniformed military officer is quite obviously a tantum of war. Imagine how the U.S. would be responded on December 6th of 1941 if the Germans had assassinated Army Chief of Staff George Marshall with the declaration of war, certainly perhaps against Germany and its still ally Japan, potentially doing so a day before the real-world Pearl Harbor attack of December 7th. Or in a more modern counterfactual scenario, would America eschew retaliation at a minimum or more likely open warfare? Were Iran to have blown away General Petraeus's or Mattis's back when they were still in Iraq? Don't be silly. It's a valuable remember to walk a mile in an opponent's shoes, in this case to consider the view from Tehran. Let us agree that for a better or worse, Mr. Trump has started a war. What perhaps more troubling is that he has unilaterally done so, committed America to what parse of the Quincy Institute recently called an irreversible escalation. In doing so, he has left Congress and the U.S. military and the people to pick up the pieces. The president's purpose, or at least his outcome, has been to engender a de facto state of war to commit the U.S. to convey fait accompli. He's not the first president to do so. Back in 1846, President James Polk, another dark horse candidate, by supporting the annexation of the breakaway Mexican province of Texas, and then ordering an army across this international recognized border, unilaterally made the result war the deadliest per capita of the U.S. troops in history, all but inevitable. That we now know was his purpose problem is whether Polk or Trump or some future blowhard is in the White House. That's decidedly not how the Constitution says it's supposed to work. Nevertheless, it seems too late now. What's done is done. Absent an unlikely wave of anti-war people's protest, as they say, Trump has changed the paradigm. See undeclared proxy until now. War had been the game played by the U.S. and Iran. As such, it is waged as a retaliatory cycle, which each side pointing blame, riddled fingers at the other. So time being as dark as they are, let me indulge the blame seekers and do my best to trace the timeline of provocations and retaliations, only to keep it interesting, and because I think it is more intrusive, I'll do so in reverse. Since I don't know when it will happen, perhaps before the publication of this piece, but am certain that it will, I will start with what will be Iran's promised and likely bloody response attack on U.S. personnel somewhere in the world. Americans will cross the spectrum and be shocked, just shocked. But Iran only responded to the American assassination or of perhaps the second or third most powerful man in Tehran's government. Well, an Iran-backed militia had attacked the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, though this was for the Americans a bloodless event. But the U.S. had killed some 24 members of the militia in a series of airstrikes. Well, this was in response to the group's alleged responsibility for a rocket attack on the U.S. base in Iraq that killed an American contractor. But Trump had been funneling extra U.S. troops into Saudi Arabia, Iran's sworn enemy, and de facto sanctions numerous illegal Israeli airstrikes on Iranian personnel and Iraqi militias in both Syria and Iraq. Well, in September, Yemeni Houthi rebels, loosely affiliated with Iran, claimed responsibility for a temporary crippling attack on Saudi oil infrastructure. But the U.S.-backed Saudi coalition had been terror bombing Yemen civilians for 4 years, causing the world's worst man-made humanitarian disaster. Well, in June, Iran shot down an American drone that was allegedly over international airspace, but the Trump administration had labeled the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, with Soleimani commander, a foreign terrorist organization. For the first time in history, Iran designated a U.S. Central Command which has responsibility for the entire Middle East. Well, in May, Trump claimed that Iran was behind the attacks on a few Saudi oil tankers. But a year earlier, Trump had unilaterally pulled out of the international Obama-era nuclear deal in spite of a clear evidence that Iran had followed its strictures. Furthermore, rhetoric in Washington, particularly from John Bolton, had grown increasingly pungent, and later Bolton reportedly ordered the Pentagon to update plans to send 120,000 additional troops to the Persian Gulf. Well, Iranian troops and friendly militias had long been meddling in Syria to back President Assad, though they were, unlike the U.S., invited and partly combated the mutual enemy of ISIS. But Iran could cogently argue that the U.S. had indirectly backed al-Qaeda elements in Syria, and though its ill-fated invasion of Iraq set the conditions that created ISIS in the first place. Well, and I will remind you, Trump had nothing to do with that crap, guys. Nothing at all to do with that. Well, according to the official Washington line, at least Iran had backed the militias and provided the technology to kill hundreds of U.S. troops in Iraq, though there has been much evidence to the contrary and much talk about the Iranian boogeyman in Iraq, maybe by mythology. But even so, the U.S. had invaded both of Iran's main neighborhoods, Afghanistan in 2001 and Iraq in 2003, surrounding the country with American military bases. Furthermore, Iran felt genuinely threatened, which was understandable given that the Bush administration officials were itching for a regime change in Iran. Everyone wants to go to Baghdad, real men want to go to Tehran, was a common trope around neocon cries in Washington. Heck, Bush had even included Iran in the axis of evil Trumeva in the speech. Now, I could stop here in 2003 and declare America the primary aggressor. That would be fair, but I won't. Instead, let us take an ever so brief trip further down memory lane. Bush would argue his invasion was a rhetoric were justified, for some Iranian had long chanted that the U.S. was the great Satan. But see, now I'm going to stop there because I'm not going to read any more of this, because we cannot help how we got there. That is not our problem. Our problem is that we are there. And if you go back up here to the very beginning of this, to where they'll say there was the crap in the water over there where they were bullied and taking all those ships over there, and our drone got shut down. That was the first. In most cases, some people would say that was an act of war, but they shot down our drone. Okay, we got over it. We moved on, went on, whatever. And then they continued to attack our base, attack, missiles at it. Give me a break. These people are just ridiculous. But again, and I'm not going to say that we're not supposed to be there. I would not dare say that. But you cannot blame Trump for us already being there. So I'm going to quit reading that before I get upset. Okay.
Yeah, Biden signed the bill with Obama to send us over there.
And, well, Biden, they sent more men over there, but there was already men there from Bush. Anyway, so U.S. military believes Iran will attempt to kill one of its commanders in a tit-for-tat response to the death of General Soleimani and expects a major attack within the next 2 days. Well, I guess we've already got one of those attacks underway. I don't know if they will call that a major attack or not. But this is an article that is in Daily Mail. And I'm not going to read it because I think I've read enough. And I'm tired of hearing about them right now before I really get upset. We're going to move on to some other news, though. Putin makes surprise visit to Syria for military briefing amid the U.S.-Iran crisis. Russian President Vladimir Putin made an unannounced visit to Damascus, Syria on Tuesday after celebrating Russian Orthodox Christmas on January 7th every year in St. Petersburg earlier in the day. In a clear signal to the West amid soaring tensions with Iran, Putin attended a high-level military briefing at a headquarters in Syrian capital. Putin met with the Syria's President Bashar al-Assad in what Russia's Interfax acknowledged as a working trip. The timing of the visit is sure to be noticed in Washington, given it comes amid the soaring tensions with Iran over killing Soleimani, and as thousands of additional U.S. troops are deployed to the region ahead of looming potential Iranian reprisal attacks. It marks Putin's first visit to Syria in 2 years. The last time, December 27th, 2017, as part of the latest visit. The Russian president briefly touted the streets in the around Damascus city center, where he has said it is clear that the peaceful life is returning to the streets of Damascus, according to TASS. The two leaders also discussed the retaking of all the sovereign Syria after over the past month. Syrian and Russian air operations over Idlib have stepped up dramatically. Talking to Syrian President al-Assad, Putin underlined that it is certainly be said now that much ground was covered to restore Syria's statehood and territorial integrity, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said. The Syrian president showed an appreciation for Russia and Russian troops' help to fighting the terrorism and restoring peaceful life in Syria. He stressed al-Assad also extends warm wishes to Putin and the whole Russian nation on the occasion of the Christmas Pesach. Crucially, the ad hoc trip did not fall on Putin's standard schedule of executive-level meetings. Instead, it was likely initiated to underscore Russia's military commitment to Syria at a moment while the White House has vowed to roll back Iranian influence in the Middle East. Over the past year, Washington and Tel Aviv have consistently condemned Iran's military presence in the inside of Syria, which had even included past visits by now slain IRGC Quad Force General Qassem Soleimani. The trip also comes a moment at America's continued troop presence in neighboring Iraq is in doubt. Currently, a political fight is emerging in Baghdad and Iraqi parliament, with the momentum definitely on the side of those desirous of telling the Americans to leave sovereign Iraqi soil. Later in the day, Tuesday, Putin visited the religious and historic sites in Damascus, including famous churches and Al-Mahdi Mosque. There was... Okay. And according to Al Jazeera, a political will and a way of expelling U.S. troops from Iraq. While steps to expel U.S. troops may be as straightforward, some experts say neither party is in favor of such a move. Despite apparently a simple procedural measure required to end the presence of foreign troops in Iraq, some experts argue that the withdrawal of U.S. troops is unlikely to happen soon as neither side appears fully supportive of such a move. In an extraordinary session on Sunday, 2 days after the U.S. airstrike killed Iranian and Iraqi commanders in Baghdad, the Iraqi parliament called on the government to end all foreign troop presence in Iraq and to cancel its request for assistance from the U.S.-led coalition in the fight against the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant ISIS armed group. A day later, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, was forced to clarify that the United States has no plans to pull out our military from Iraq, and following reports citing a letter by U.S. military that it was preparing a movement out of Iraq. Hello. That's a recording, Mother. Sarkwak Shams, a member of Kurdish Future Bloc in the Iraqi parliament, said the implementation of parliament's non-binding resolution relates to whether or not both sides actually want to end the U.S. presence in Iraq. If there's a political will to expel U.S. troops, then the process won't be complicated, he said, adding, however, that an imminent withdrawal appeared unlikely. The resolution was only passed in an attempt to calm down public anger following the U.S. airstrike, while still maintaining U.S. Presidents, Shams told Al Jazeera, referring to Friday's attack that killed Soleimani, the head of the Iran elite Quad Force, Iraqi parliamentary near Baghdad, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the steps required for the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Iraq are straightforward, according to experts, who said the presence of about 5,000 U.S. troops, most of whom are in Iraq, in an advisory capacity, is tied to an arrangement dating back to 2014. Unlike earlier deployments, U.S. troops currently in Iraq arrived as part of a request to the U.S. from the Iraqi government to help train its security forces in a battle against ISIL, which in 2014 captured lost swaths of Iraqi territory. The understanding was that the U.S. troops would help Iraqi defeat ISIL following Baghdad's victory in 2017. They are no longer needed, said Abbas Kadam, director of the Iraqi Initiative at the Atlantic Council. Before the vote in Parliament, caretaker Prime Minister Adel Abdul Mahdi told parliamentaries in the hall that it was in the interest of both Iraq and the U.S. to end foreign troops' presence in the country, urging them to support the notion. According to Kadam, Abdul Mahdi move was unnecessary, but it gave him a sense of legitimacy and consensus. There is no treaty that needs to be canceled or a new law needed to be drafted, Kadim said. The presence of U.S. troops is based on an executive request for U.S. troops, which can be canceled by an executive decision at any time, he explained, saying that with a stroke of a pen, the undisclosed terms outlined in the letters between former Iraqi Prime Minister Haider and al-Abadi, the former U.S. President Barack, can be annulled. The only reason Abdul Mahdi went to Parliament was because he's a caretaker role and didn't want to seem like he was acting unilaterally. Abdul Mahdi stepped down in November amid months-long mass anti-government protest, but remains the caretaker position, a point which some observers have raised concern over. But according to the Iraqi legal expert Takrak Harb, the presence of caretaker government is not an obstacle. The parliament vote gives Abdul Mahdi the authority and the legitimacy to take measures to expel foreign troops in Iraq. All it requires is time and will, Harb said, adding that the vote solidified the parliament's support for him to proceed with the measures. Now that the draft has passed, the implementation is in the hands of the current prime minister and whoever comes after him. Kadim agreed, as the commander-in-chief, Abdul Mahdi, has fully authority to, according to Iraqi law, to carry out their decision until a new prime minister is voted in. Following the parliamentary vote, Mahdi announced that the government was preparing the legal framework for the implementation of the resolution. According to the statement by the office, the Prime Minister also met U.S. Ambassador Matthew Tuller on Monday to discuss measures to facilitate a roadmap for an amicable military withdrawal while keeping the bilateral diplomatic relations intact. Despite the apparent simplicity of the matter, however, analysts believe the move is unlikely to take place due to the opposition with Iraq and the U.S. to move. Neither Iraq nor the U.S. really want the troops expelled unless the situation continues to escalate, said Shams, who boycotted the vote along with many Sunni and Kurdish parliamentaries who opposed the move. The assassination of Soleimani and Mohammadi came after an attempt by hundreds of members and supporters of the pro-Iran parliamentary Hashd al-Shababi to storm the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad amid rising anger over the U.S. airstrikes against the positions of Kataib Hezbollah, a member of the umbrella organization in Iraq and Syria. Since the killings, rival Shia political leaders have called for the expulsion of the U.S. troops from Iraq in an unusual show of unity among factions that have disagreed for months. Despite the anger, Iraq analyst Zeldin Al-Qaini argued neither party wanted a withdrawal. With Iranian influence at its feet, the U.S. is unlikely to leave Iraq. That would only provide for unilateral dominance from Iran in the region. Al-Qaini said it would be symbolically harmful for Trump, who is facing an election and impeachment, to be kicked out of Iraq with a parliamentary vote. For the Iraqis, the vote was just a cost they had to pay the Iranian government to show neutrality. In the aftermath, the killing of Soleimani, he added. So it was just for show, guys. That's all. Just for show. We do that nowadays. You know, we just make votes just for show. I think it's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Then we also have Chevron pulls out U.S. oil workers out of Iraq. Chevron has pulled out all of its American oil workers out of Iraq, the company said on Monday, according to Reuters, making it the latest foreign oil company to evacuate staff there at the urging of the U.S. Embassy following the killing of Iranian Quds Force leader Qasem Soleimani. Chevron operates in Iraq's Kurdistan region, much to the irritation of the Iraqi government, and owns and operates a 50% operating stake in the Sarta production, sharing a contract and 40% of non-operating interest in the Quadda production sharing contract, according to the company's website. While American workers are being whisked out of the country, local Kurdistan's workers will oversee Chevron's Iraqi operations. Chevron's America's second largest oil company, behind only Exxon, was blacklisted by Iraq in 2012 for sealing the oil deal with Kurdistan, a move that effectively banned Chevron from signing any oil agreements with the Iraqi government. The Quadda and the Sarta blocks the Chevron purchased in part were disputed blocks. The blacklisting, however, have too few teeth to persuade Chevron to drop its Kurdish pursuits. Chevron has already stopped its Kurdistan's activities in October 2017 after the independence referendum created further tensions between the Kurdistan region and the central Iraqi government in Baghdad. At the time, Iraqi government forces had seized all oil fields around Kirkuk, taking 350,000 BD of oil production offline. The oil fields had been the Kurdish controls since 2014. Chevron restarted its operation 3 months later. Chevron also considered pulling its staff out of Iraq in May of 2019 after the U.S. ordered the evacuation of all non-essential government employees out of Iraq due to the security concerns, stating that the U.S. citizens in Iraq were at the time at a high risk for violence and kidnapping. And that was after the drone situation, guys. Just saying. Russia proposes, Chevron's the only place you get gas from. I hear you. Russia proposes to secure Iraqi airspace with the S-400 air defense. The Ministry of Defense of Russian Federation has offered Iraq Tuesday the option to purchase the world's most advanced missile defense system to protect its airspace, reported the RIA Novstas. According to the report, Iraqi armed forces could purchase the Russia S-400's Triumph air defense system, which RIA points out can ensure the country's sovereignty and reliable airspace protection. Iraq is a partner of Russia in the field of military technical cooperation, and the Russian Federation can supply necessary funds to ensure the sovereignty of the country and reliable protection of airspace, including the supply of S-400 missiles and other components of the air defense, such as the Buk M3, Tor M2, and so on, said Igor Korchniko, Russian Defense Ministry Public Council member. For the last several months, Iraq has considered purchasing Russian air defense and missile system, including the S-400. However, it has been met with fierce pressure from the U.S. But with the political crisis between U.S. and Iraq underway, thanks partly to the U.S. assassination of Iran Soleimani, Russia could profit as Iraq attempts to decouple from U.S. A recent U.S. intelligence assessment indicated at least 13 countries had expressed interest in purchasing the S-400. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, Vietnam, and Iraq have all been discussions with Russia to purchase the missile defense system in their last several quarters. Meanwhile, China, India, and Turkey have already signed agreements with Russia. The S-400 can strike stealth bombers, aircraft cruise missiles, precision-guided projectiles, and ballistic missiles. Some military experts have even said that the Russian missile defense system is far superior than the U.S. MIM-104 Patriot. Well, maybe we need to buy some of it.
We have to end this fast.
Okay. Iran is not interested in having nukes. Will stick to the JCPOA once given benefits in return, the UN envoy. Prohibited by the Supreme Leader's decree, nuclear weapons are inconsistent with Iran's defensive doctrine, the country's UN envoy said after Tehran announced a suspension of limits under the 2015 deal. Iran's decision to lift restrictions on uranium enrichment after a U.S. drone strike killed General Soleimani near Baghdad International Airport made headlines in Western media, with some speculating that the Islamic Republic could be seeking nuclear weapons. However, Iran's ambassador to the UN, Makhad Ravinci, reassured the public that that is not the case, even though 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action is now in jeopardy. There is no place for nuclear weapons in Iran's defense doctrine, he told PBS NewsHour, adding that the country is also abiding by the Non-Proliferation Treaty, a 1968 pact that aims for a nuclear disarmament and sets standards for arms control. We're not interested in having nuclear weapon because we have a very clear-cut religious ethic by our Supreme Leader prohibiting nuclear weapons. Tehran has meticulously followed the provisions of the nuclear deal, even though it has received almost nothing in return, Takat Ravinci said, and while European parties to the JCPOA, from which Tehran expected to receive benefits, didn't act in accordance with the deal, Iran has chosen not to abandon it completely. If Iran is given the benefit of the deal, we will go back to full implementation of it, the ambassador stated. Previously, Iran announced that the level of uranium enrichment will be determined by its own technical needs. Both Tehran and International Atomic Energy agencies have confirmed that international inspectors are continuing their verification activities under the nuclear deal. La la la. Lots of stuff. I think I have just one more article about Iran, and then I'm done with Iran news, guys. He shouldn't let it go unanswered. He will make a statement, and I'm sure. I blocked off the kitchen and heated it with pots of water. Oh, you are so funny. Okay, I get it. It's citywide and such. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, guys. Okay, so AP News reports that this is an update from this morning where we said that there was 35 dead. Well, according to this update, it says that the stampede has killed 56 at the funeral procession in Iranian. So I'm not going to read it. We're just going to, and there's 200 injured now. So the update is that there were 56 people killed and 200 injured versus the 190, I think, that was reported this morning, and 35 dead. So now there's 56. So that's the update there. Then we have an article from Sputnik News that talks about the Australian air fire rescue blocked by the inferno thick orange smoke. A video shared on Twitter on Sunday shows Royal Australian Air Force pilots trying to fly through thick plumes of orange smoke that prevented them from completing rescue missions in the Australian towns of Malakato and Morbello, which they have been ravaged by the bushfires. This video shows that the heavy smoke from the bushfires has prevented some C-27J and C-130J flights from reaching Makato and Maribel. Air Vice Marshal Joe Urfies, who commands the Australian Air Force, has captured the video. Makato and Maribel are located in Australia's states of Victoria and New South Wales, respectively. At least 136 fires continue to burn out across New South Wales, causing at least 25 casualties, according to the NPR. Of casualties, 18 have been from the New South Wales, which have been the area most affected by the blazes. 2 people are still missing. South Wales, at least 1,500 homes have been destroyed since the fires began in September 2019. According to the Australian officials, the bushfires have scorched more than 14.7 million acres of land, an area larger than the U.S. state of West Virginia. Although fires are common in Australia, this year's blaze have been particularly potent due to the high temperatures and strong winds, with more than people than usual showing up at the hospitals, medical centers due to the breathing issues, according to the government officials. The AFP reported 24 Australians in New South Wales have been arrested since early November for intentionally setting the fires in the country, according to a local news report, and 53 other people are currently facing legal action for not following the New South Wales fire ban. 47 other have faced legal action for tossing out lit cigarettes or match in the public. The ABC News reported intentionally starting a brush fire or recklessly contributing to its spread can lead to 21 years in prison sentence, according to the New South Wales Police Force. In addition to human casualties, nearly 500 million Australian animals, including reptiles, mammals, and birds, have been wiped out by the brush fire since September, according to the ecologists at the University of Sydney. That's a lot of people arrested for all that, guys. I think it's almost like 180 something. There's some lasers starting where? Where's the lasers at, Jules? Yes, that is sad, guys. It truly is. I'm going to get the sad news out of the way. According to the Daily Mail, Prozac Nation author Elizabeth Wurtzel, who became a Generation X icon with the publication of her groundbreaking confessional memoir about depression and drug addiction, dies at 52 after a long cancer battle. Elizabeth Wurtzel, the author of the acclaimed confessional memoir Prozac, National Young and Depressed in America, has died at the age of 52. She passed away on Tuesday at a Manhattan hospital following a long battle with breast cancer. The author announced her diagnosis back in 2015 and had a double mastectomy. However, the cancer metastasized to her brain and she died from complications from the leptomeningeal disease and illness that takes place when cancer spreads to the cerebral spinal fluid. Her memoir, published at the age 27 in 1994, was groundbreaking for its candid account of depression and drug addiction. The book was named after the antidepressant drug Prozac, which she was once one of the first people to be prescribed, and reveal her harrowing journey with depression. By turns wrenching and comical, self-indulgent and self-aware, Prozac Nation possesses the raw candor of Joan Didion's essays and irritating emotional exhibits of Sylvia Plath's Beljar and a rarely dark humor of Bob Dylan's song. New York Times book critico Michio Kakuta wrote, her book was praised for sparkling dialogue about clinical depression. She followed up with the memoir Bitch in praise of difficult women in 1998. Then she published more, now again in 2001, another memoir where she documented her drug abuse that landed her in and out of rehab. Her writing made her the Gen X icon who helped revive the personal memoir Jennar the 1990s. Sad to hear that. You're glad you got off Prozac. I hear you. Very addicting, and it does lead to other stuff. I'm glad anybody can get off any kind of addiction, guys. This here is from the Daily Mail, and it says, Fotis Dolos 51 restrained his estranged wife with zip ties before killing her, police claim, as they charge him with murder, and his girlfriend and a lawyer are arrested for covering up the crime. Shocking new evidence has been revealed in arrest warrants for Fotis Dolos and his girlfriend, Michelle Troconis, who have been arrested and charged in the disappearance of Dolos' estranged wife. Multiple police cars descended on Dolos' luxury mansion in Farmington, Connecticut on Tuesday morning and took him into custody. Dolos, 52, is charged with murder, felony murder, and kidnapping. Troconis, 45, is charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Dolos, a friend of a former civil attorney, Kent Douglas Mahoney, 53, is also charged with conspiracy to commit murder. He was taken into custody on Tuesday after a warrant was issued for his arrest. It comes 8 months after the disappearance of Jennifer Dolos, who was seen alive dropping their 5 kids off at school in May amid a contentious divorce and a custody battle with her husband. Her body has never been found. Arrest warrants reviewed by Daily Mail listed a wealth of physical evidence, including trash bags and zip ties with Jennifer's DNA. The warrants also reveal investigators are convinced that Jennifer is dead, including a complex lack of financial and cell phone activity following her disappearance and extensive blood stains discovered in her Land Rover and home. The warrants also say that Mahoney's name appears on an alibi script written by Dolos and Troconis, detailing their activities on the day of Jennifer's disappearance. Oh, mercy, guys. So sad, so sad. I don't know why people think that they can get away with murder, but they just can't. You just can't, guys. You just
Because the
can't.
rich people think they can. They think they got the money to cover everything up.
Anyway, so then I'm really upset about this because all of this started on things that the DNC and HRC party started. Okay, but we're going to talk about it. Zero Hedge has that the Fed's changed tune recommended Michael Flynn get 6 months in prison. Federal prosecutors have changed their tune into Michael Flynn's case, recommending that the retired 3-star Army general receive up to 6 months in prison for lying to investigators regarding his contact with the Russian diplomat Sergei Kozlovsky. Prosecutors had previously recommended no jail time for Flynn's cooperation. Prosecutors noted that in a Tuesday filing that while Flynn has sought to assist and aid the government, there were periods where the defendant had sought to thwart the efforts of the government to hold their individual's principal, Bijan Rafikain, accountable for criminal wrongdoing. Flynn is accused of failing to accept responsibility and complete his cooperation, as well as in affirmative efforts to undermine the prosecution of Rafikain. Well, again, I tell you, it was all made up to begin with. All of this stuff started on a hoax. So I don't think he should freaking daggone do any jail time. He needs to be pardoned. They need to get on with this. This is ridiculous. I hope the man does not serve one day in jail. This is ridiculous. The 67-year-old Rafikain, an Iranian American, and Flynn's former business partner, was charged with illegal acting as an unregistered agent of a foreign government. Flynn is scheduled to be sentenced January 28th after the U.S. District Judge Emmett G. Sullivan dismissed Flynn's request to find prosecutors in contempt and claims of entrapment. And that is exactly what happened to the poor gentleman. But, they're never going to talk about it. CNN settlement, $275 million lawsuit with the punchable teenager Nick Sadman. I don't know if you guys remember him or not, but there's that kid that they started all that mess over, him wearing the Magna hat. Well, the CNN settled a $250 million lawsuit with Covington High School student Nicholas Sadman for an undisclosed sum on Tuesday. Sadman was viciously attacked by left-leaning news outlet over a deceptively edited video clip from the January 2019 March for Life rally at the Lincoln Memorial, in which the teenager seen wearing the Magna hat appeared to be mocking a Native American man beating a drum, known a political grifter who lied about the incident and stole valor. Around the day later, a longer version of the video revealed that the sad man did absolutely nothing wrong, but not until the media had played judge, jury, and executioner of sad man's reputation. That included CNN Reza Aslan, who asked over Twitter, "Have you ever seen a more punchable face than this kid's?" I believe they got exactly what they deserved, and I hope that more people sue CNN. Contrary to the facts first publicly relations ploy, CNN ignored the facts and put its anti-Trump agenda first, enraging a 7-day media campaign of false, vicious attacks against Nicholas, a young boy who was guilty of little more than wearing a souvenir Make America Great Again cap. And that's all. And I'm not going to read no more. But we know what happened, I'm sure everybody remembers. But he was paid, well, I do agree, $250 million. So here we go. Hoorah for him. He got his justice. $250 million. Okay, so according to Fox, Hawley's rallies GPO colleagues to move to dismiss the articles of impeachment. Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri joined fellow Republicans Monday to introduce a resolution allowing the chamber to dismiss articles of impeachment against President Trump for lack of prosecution as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi delays sending the case for trial. And of course, I already covered this, so I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I just wanted to highlight it because we're going to go over here to this article from AP. McConnell, the GOP, will start impeachment trial and delay witnesses. And this was over an hour ago. The Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, said Tuesday he has the votes to start President Donald Trump's impeachment trial as soon as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi releases the documents, winning support from the GOP senators to postpone a decision on calling witnesses. The announcement is significant, enabling McConnell to bypass, for now, Democrat demands for new testimony as he launches the third impeachment trial in the nation's history on his preferred terms. It could begin this week if Pelosi sends the articles of impeachment to the Senate. She is set to meet late Tuesday with her leadership team. "We have the votes," McConnell told reporters. He said the question of new witnesses and documents will be addressed later and not before the trial begins. The contours of the Senate trial have been disputed. Pelosi is delaying transmission of the articles as Democrats press to hear from the former National Security Advisor John Bolton and other new witnesses. McConnell has resisted and prefers a speedy acquittal. The GOP leader told senators at their closed-door lunch Tuesday that he has support for his plan, outlined in an organizing resolution that would be molded after President Bill Clinton's impeachment trial 20 years ago. It would start the trial first and postpone votes on witnesses until the later in the process. He has 51 votes for sure, said Senator Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina, a top ally of the president. Exiting the meeting, Republicans told the majority in the Senate 53-47. In withholding the articles, Pelosi gave Democrats an opportunity to ramp up pressure on Republicans not to go along with McConnell's proposal. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer called McConnell's plan a trap and a cover-up. "Whoever heard of a trial without witnesses and documents?" the New York Democrat said. He asked Trump what he has to hide. Witnesses and documents, fair trial. No witnesses and documents, cover up. Republicans countered that Democrats rushed to impeach and then delayed the process. Pelosi has yet to choose House impeachment managers for the trial, a political sensitive next step with many lawmakers vying to be candidates. The House impeachment the president last month on the two charges. Just 4 GOP senators would be needed to deny McConnell his majority, but he appears to have locked up the votes. GOP leaders were conducting a whip count Tuesday to gauge support. Several GOP senators have indicated that they want to hear from Bolton and other witnesses, but they are nevertheless standing with McConnell's plan for starting the trial. Senator Mitt Romney, a Republican from Utah, said Tuesday that the Clinton process provided a pathway to start the trial and consider witnesses down the road. He said he supports it. I'm comfortable with the process, Romney said, and at this stage, I like to hear from John Bolton and other witnesses with the right information, but the process will accommodate that. Senator Susan Collins, Republican Maine, has also said she supports McConnell's approach. Others say they are not sure they even need to hear from Bolton or other witnesses, blaming the House for not forcing them to testify. Trump had instructed the White House officials not to comply with the House investigation. Yes, he is. I agree with you. Trump faces charges of abuse power. We already know this, guys. But the big thing is that McConnell has the votes, and we'll see where it goes. We'll see what they come out and say tomorrow, but I doubt they're going to say anything big. Then we have an article from CNN that says it's about the earthquake in Guanca, Puerto Rico. A 6.4 magnitude earthquake jolted southern Puerto Rico on Tuesday morning, killing at least one man, damaging homes, and cutting power. Hello? Hey guys, okay, I have MG on the phone. Hold on. I gotta turn it up and turn you on speaker. Anyway, let me finish this article and then chime in, okay?
Alright.
Okay. I have, there's close to 300,000 on that island of 1.1 million utility customers without water service. That's a lot of people without water, guys. And according to the article, it killed one person. So, and which is pretty sad, but it says more than 400,000 of the 3.1 million people would felt strong or very strong shaking. So it seems like almost everybody felt that earthquake. And I'm going to show you some pictures. And then what do you say today, MG? How was your birthday first?
Oh, it was good. I didn't do much today, which is nice. I had a few friends come over earlier. What about that?
So it was okay? I mean...
Oh, yeah. I was at home all morning. And then we went out for breakfast.
Well, that's cool.
Well, then chat this morning for a little bit. But yeah, we were drinking all night and then went out for breakfast and then passed out for a little bit. And I woke up.
Wow. Okay.
It was fun.
Well, it sounds like it. So what do you think?
Not the end, though.
So what do you think about all this mess?
I've been paying attention to it, but not that much. There's only so many things that can happen. A lot of people are worried about, especially people my age, are like, oh, there's going to be a draft. It's like, no, the technology that all the countries have these days, that's not going to happen.
There could be a draft, but I mean, Congress has to enact the draft, and it wouldn't be until really a whole lot further down the road. It wouldn't be.
When it happened back then,
yeah.
It happened, and then they would train for 6 months and be shipped out. At this point, the rate that things are going, they're not going to have time for that. To train 5-10 million kids my age. It takes time. It's not like within 2 or 3 months they can be trained and shipped out. It takes time.
Right.
So I feel like the way things are escalating, there's no time for that. But like I said, the way they fight these days is a lot different from back then. Where back then, it's literally almost manpower. You just throw people, whoever has the most people, that throw in the fight, for the most part. For example, the Germans had more skill by far, and their equipment was better quality by far. But the numbers, they didn't. I always talk about numbers, and they didn't have the numbers.
Right.
So even though they were better, they didn't have the numbers. So it's a similar case where we kind of rely off our equipment these days. What we have, and not manpower. We do have a lot of manpower, but we don't. That's not what we rely on.
The technology. Yeah, we've got a lot of technology, but so do they. You know. I mean, I don't think they have nothing like what we have. I mean, everybody has.
We have like, what is it, like around 13, 20 million in the military total, and then.
No, we only have 1 million in the military, honey.
Well, I mean, between National Guard, I mean, you want to have.
No, we have a little over 1 million total.
Well, I guess not even close to 20 million, but you know what I mean, you lump them all together between National Guard.
We can send
all the
Antifa.
Forces.
I hear you. Yeah.
All the ones that would be fighting, and Homeland Security, all the ones that would be fighting on the home front. Oh, I mean, there's a lot of them out there too. Yeah, you want to include the actual military itself. Yeah, they're all out there. I mean, we already have a small number as it is, and then a bunch of them are out there. And then you look at China, and 100 million in the military would be nothing to them. They have like 1.5 billion. I mean, a lot of them on the rural areas, but even you cut that in half down to 50 million, and that's just China alone.
Right. I mean, I will say that we probably have, I'm going to tell you, as far as technology, I think that Russia gives us a run for their money. But I think that...
well, Russia has the technology, but not the numbers, and that's why it's going to be like a Germany and Russia situation between America and China. We're going to have that technology, but they're going to have the numbers. And not only that, but Russia's going to help them with technology and then their equipment. I mean, they're collaborating with both. And then you have Iran as a proxy behind Iran. And they're just using Iran just to bait the United States.
Right. So what do you think about, and what do you think about the stuff going on in Virginia?
It seems like they're just testing to see how far they can take it. That's what it seems like to me.
Right.
I mean, they're not putting people in a position where it's like, you do what we say now, or we're going to act on it. They're just threatening people and just pushing them to see if they comply. But when it comes down to it, I mean, people are going to do it, but that's what they're relying on, is for people to comply. They're basically like poker almost. They're seeing if people are going to call the bluff. And if enough people give in, like I said, people have free will, so they'll put it out there threatening you. But if majority doesn't give in, they won't follow through.
No, Brandy, all of our tech isn't.
People comply.
All of our tech's not made in China.
People are saying this. The people are complying. People are turning their weapons. This is what the people want, and then they do it. But if majority don't comply, like I said, people's free will. I mean, they chose not to comply, and then they're not going to force people because majority of them aren't complying, and they're not going to go through with it. It's all based off what people are going to do.
Yeah, well, see,
it's all bluff.
The thing that has me in Virginia, okay, they're trying to enforce all this stuff where the cops have to enforce their laws. And then they're saying, oh, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. But they are doing these things where they're passing these laws. They might not be going to call in the National Guard right now, but what they're wanting you to do is they're not saying that they're not going to continue with these laws, which is ridiculous. And I think that what they're going to do is wait till it diffuses some, pass the laws that they want to, and then go and confiscate, and then go and take their guns. Do it in small raids when people aren't expecting. They'll get you to come to their shooting ranges and use your guns so that they know what you have, and you have to sign in now and all this and that.
Yeah, it's all about the shooting ranges, so they don't want militias practicing. But the funny thing is, most of those people don't go to shooting ranges. They have their own property.
Right, exactly. And that's what's just so funny.
Most of the time they shoot at their own property. The only time they go to the gun range is probably to shoot with friends. But even then, I guarantee you they have a friend's house. There's always that one friend that has the best house. And everybody goes over there to hang out. And even then, they start going to the gun range. I guarantee you they go over there.
Right.
Shoot guns. So it's not like that's kind of affecting anybody. Like I said, they're just doing what they can. There's not much they can do to prevent people or convince people.
Right. Well, I think the main thing is that they've got Antifa that's going to be there supposedly. They've got the Black Lives Matter, the MS-13 gang. I think that what they're going to try and do is get something escalated to where then they call in the National Guard and say, oh, they were belligerent, they've caused all this riot, and then come in and declare martial law and take their stuff.
Yeah, they're going to put them on buses and ship them on out over there to cause a bunch of crap.
Yep. That's it.
Like they normally do.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's what I think. I mean, that's just, that is what Virginia Prepper said that, or not Virginia Prepper, I'm sorry, not Virginia Prepper. That is what American Joe said. American Joe made a video and he said that they've got surveillance going on where they're, surveilling and scoping out things. And according to them, they're saying that there are MS-13 there, as well as Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Confirmed. Yep. I agree with you, Amy. I mean, you can hope and pray for civil.
Why do we have these terror groups there and nothing's being done about them? MS-13 is a daggum Mexican gang that is. So why are they even in the United States? And if there's alleged that they're there, why ain't they being arrested?
I have no
I
clue.
love how your husband just comes in out of nowhere every time.
I hear you. Yeah.
Oh, he's right there.
Yeah, he is right, and that's the hope. And even Antifa, in my opinion, should be labeled as a terrorist group, but they haven't been yet.
Yeah,
Brandy said, "You tell him, Mr. Renee."
But we want to try and classify the Mexican cartel as a terrorist group,
Right.
And that's not even in our own country,
Right.
But we're gonna let
Antifa
Antifa run around and do what they want.
Well, in their eyes, I'm just being sarcastic.
Right. True that, Amy. She said that.
It's just, whenever you look at the double standards, that's why I don't take that side seriously. If they treated both sides the same, and when they call people out, that would be different. But when they call people out, if it's people on their side that support what they're pushing, they make them as innocent as they can be, even up to the most evil person on earth. But as long as it's the other side and they're completely innocent, they'll do what they can to twist it around to make it seem like they're guilty, although they're completely innocent.
2024, Tiny for president.
2024 Tiny for president.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I would.
A lot of people fall for that. I mean, you go on Facebook or any social media, and there's so much people that believe the crap out there.
Sweet Jenna said, "Mad respect for you, Mr. Thomas," and everyone else is calling you Miss Renee though.
Mr. Thomas.
Hey,
I like that.
Mr. Renee. I mean, Mr. Renee, not Miss
Mr.
Renee.
No, it's Mr. Tim, it ain't Mr. Renee.
Here, Mr. Renee kind of reminds me of the movie Mr.
I
Tom.
told you that's what it says.
Mr. Renee.
Mr. Renee, that's what it says.
No, it's Mr. Tim.
He said, "Mr. Tim, guys, Mr. Tim."
I'm Mr. Renee. I'm not losing my identity.
He says he's not losing his identity. He's Mr. Tim. Somebody recruits and pays these people the same ones that protect them. Yeah, right. And you know that it's Soros that's paying all these people. I mean, they actually.
They're not getting paid that much either.
Well, have you not seen the ads? I have actually seen a couple of the ads.
It was like $15 an hour.
I in Alabama we saw them for $15 to $20 an hour. I guess it depends.
Yeah.
It depend on what you were going to do. I don't know why it fluctuated, but there was a pay scale rate between 15 and $20 an hour. That's decent money to do nothing except for stand out there and act stupid.
I was gonna say it's not worth my time, but I mean, when I look at it from their perspective, those types of people that are doing it, they have time to kill. So
That's it.
yeah, they're gonna be unemployed anyways.
That's it. They are.
I mean, it's either no money or that, so that's good money. I mean, if they're gonna make no money,
Right.
yeah, I guess those people is pretty appealing.
He's already downstairs, Helen. He wasn't offended.
Or something, which is gonna be Trump supporters 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna be doing that kind of crap.
No. And, well, what do you think about Iran threatening Trump supporters? I mean, come on, really? Seriously.
Well, I know I don't know how much they've hacked and how much they've got from us, but I know they've been one of the big ones, like the few countries that have been going at us pretty hard. I mean, with hacking our grid, like our data and everything.
No, they're talking
sure
about killing
a lot is
us.
on our citizens, so I'm sure if they really wanted to, I'm sure they know who.
No. Iran is talking about killing us if we vote Trump in office.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's been multiple data breaches here in America, so I'm sure they have access to information on people that support Trump.
It says there are casualties among the Iraqi. This is just coming in a minute ago, guys, from CNN. It says Iran has launched more than a dozen rocket hit Iraq base where U.S. troops are located. Iran has launched more than a dozen ballistic missiles at 2 Iraqi military bases that house the U.S. troops. There are casualties among the Iraqis at the Ain al-Assad air base following the attack early Wednesday local time, an Iraqi security source tells CNN. At this stage, it is unknown whether these casualties are wounded or killed. Also unknown are the numbers of casualties. Pompeo and Esper just arrived at the White House. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Secretary of Defense Esper have just arrived at the White House. Pompeo was early but left around 4:30 at Eastern Time. I don't know what that's about. U.S. Defense Secretary has reached out to Iraq Prime Minister in the past half hour. But supposedly there's been some casualties, and we don't know if there's what kind of casualties. It says a Pentagon, Iran launches more than a dozen ballistic missiles at Iraqi bases. The Pentagon has confirmed Iran launched missiles at the U.S. military and coalition forces in Iraq. The Pentagon said the Iran fired more than a dozen missiles. It is clear that these missiles were launched from Iran and targeted at least 2 Iraqi military bases hosting U.S. military and coalition personnel at Al-Assad. Erbil, Jonathan Hoffman, Assistant to the Secretary of Defense of Public Affairs, said in his statement, "We are working on initial battle damage assessments," he added. The base, he said, has been on high alert due to the indications that Iranian regime plan to attack our forces and interest in the region. As we evaluate the situation and our response, we will take all necessary measures to protect and defend U.S. personnel, partners, and allies in the region, the Pentagon said. So guess what, guys? We're going to strike them back. You know this, right?
You want to know what I want to know is when is China, but especially Russia, going to make their move? How long are they going to sit back? Like I said, especially Russia, because they already have forces down there in the Middle East.
And
they're a lot closer to that region than we are.
Well,
we have to go across the ocean. And
did you not hear? Did you
like what, like 1,500 miles by land down there, and then they can get there? And that's like at the most. While we have to go all that way across the ocean, and the transport and stuff's a lot difficult. I mean, when are they going to step in? When they step in, that's when it is going to get bad.
Well, my thing is I'm going to tell you, I have a bad feeling that on this day particularly, that Putin had a meeting in Syria. You know, coming straight off of his holiday, because they have their Christmas on the 7th or whatever. So coming straight off of his holiday from St. Petersburg, I have a very eerie feeling about that meeting. I mean, you know, and the mere fact that Iraq, where we're at, is even talking about buying their S-400s to protect their skies.
Yeah, no, I saw an article too earlier.
Well, Putin's not been too silent. He was down there in Syria, sweetheart.
There's Syria, there's Iraq, there's Iran, even Turkey. I mean, the entire region is pretty much turning towards Russia support. And then Russia doesn't agree 100% with China and China's values and what they stand for. But for now, they're working together. So, I mean, you have the entire region turning on us, and then you have two superpowers and play against us, and then Europe is kind of worthless. They're like neutral right now. I mean, the way things are going, like I said, you never know. I mean, things are already going bad as it is, and then you have Russia step in when they do step in. I mean, if the U.S. keeps pushing and Russia steps in, I mean, it could get bad real quick.
Well, I know everyone thinks Russia will step in, but I don't think he will.
It all depends on how bad it gets.
I don't think they're going to step in. I mean, if anything, I think they'll come over here and invade us. What if any more troops get sent out? You know what I mean?
Well, something. There's going to be something.
Right. Yeah.
Too hard in the Middle East. Like I said, the entire region, besides Israel, is like already against us. The entire region. Israel is literally the only one, and we're supporting Israel.
Right.
Israel's not supporting us. We're supporting Israel, and they're our only friend over there. We're putting so many resources into that region when the world is like supporting that region, and that entire region is against us. So we literally, there's like no pros. There's no pros and cons. It's like all cons. There's no pros to it. I mean,
right.
One thing is Israel, but like I said, we're supporting them, but not supporting us, so they're not really an asset. If anything, they're getting us into this crap.
Okay. Now, on the day that Brandy asked a question, and I'd already covered this, but I pulled it up again for you. Putin and Macron discussed concerns over the U.S. killing of top Iranian general Soleimani, Kremlin. Russian President Vladimir Putin and French counterpart Emmanuel Macron expressed their concerns in a phone call over the U.S. killing of Iran's Major General Qasem Soleimani, according to a statement on the Kremlin's website Friday evening. The U.S. early on Friday killed Soleimani, head of the elite Quad Force and architect of Iran's spreading military influence in the Middle East. According to the Kremlin, the phone call was initiated by the French leader. The statement said Macron and Putin agreed that the U.S. actions have the potential to seriously aggravate the situation in the region. Earlier, Russia Foreign Ministry told the Senate, the state-run news agency, that killing of Soleimani would increase tensions in the Middle East, while a number of Russian officials voiced similar sentiments and criticized the U.S. actions in Iraq. And let's see, there was another one. But this one was more recent, I think. It says 1 day ago. It says Moscow, some of the loudest critics of President Trump, ordered to kill the commander, but Russia may end up benefiting from the fallout. If the United States withdraws from Iraq over the backlash over the killing, widens, Russia could strengthen its foothold in the country. Speaking to French Macron Friday, the Russian president warned that Friday's target killing the Qassam would seriously destabilize the region. So, they've already both said that they spoke out and said it was wrong. So they haven't said they were getting in it though. Okay, so I don't think that they're going to come out and say that to begin with, though. Why would BB decide to call it murder? That's strong language for people that, yeah, exactly. But they've been calling it an assassination. That's what everybody's been calling it. It's an assassination. It's assassination. I don't know. Iran general name Salami. Soleimani.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
Mm-hmm.
General's funny.
JR says he thinks it'll be the Chinese will be here first. West Coast, Russian-backed group, East Coast. Probably, JR. That's what I think. I think if they're going to do anything, I don't think they'll hit us while over there. I think that they'll wait till more troops are drawn out, because we already have, I want to say, a total of 60,000 overseas or over in that area, a total number in that region, if I'm not mistaken. And we just pulled another 3,500. So I'm thinking that they will wait till they pull another large chunk, if they do, and then I think that's when they possibly will come after us. And I say possibly, but we just have to wait and see.
Yeah, the draft's definitely not happening.
So what do you think about? What did you think about this? The George Lopez be crap.
It reminded me of the South Park episode.
It reminded you of the South Park episode? Well,
Yeah.
I think it's
It's like, I'm not even funny, man. I'm not even funny. I just steal people's jokes.
yeah, but he didn't say it was a joke when he said it until after people were getting their panties in a wad, and which my panties were.
He's been made fun of for being a horrible comedian. Not like horrible and like what he makes fun of, but I mean he doesn't have any funny jokes. He's not funny at all. Like he's been made fun of by other comedians. He's that bad.
Right. Well, I'm pretty upset that nothing has happened. I mean, here there was all this.
Of course not.
There was.
The reason why he's a big deal is because the Hollywood pushes him. Other comedians make fun of him because most time, even though comedians are part of Hollywood, a lot of them say it how it is, even if it's not politically correct. So they're honest. But yeah, the reason why he's relevant is because Hollywood pushes him.
That's it. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's just, I don't know. All of this is just so overwhelming on certain days, and there's so much news that comes out all day, every day here, the last 3, 4 days. It's a pile overload. And you saw how much news I covered this morning. I covered it quite a bit. Um, and then to
Alrighty,
still and then to still have all of this is just crazy. Did you hear what Barr just did? Um, I did hear earlier that Barr arrested 8 people. Is that what you're talking about, Miss Story? I know he arrested 8 people or indicted 8 people. Trying to see. I'm not sure if that's what she's talking about.
yeah, I know what JR said. George has been a nobody for 10 years, so you need to say something so no one will forget him. That's how a lot of people in Hollywood go. That's why I was saying a lot of people in Hollywood, I mean, that's how you know, for the most of the time, the true honest people in Hollywood that are actually not robots and think for themselves are people that will make fun of obvious guys like that. Or instead of just saying nothing, or even worse, supporting them, even though it's obviously wrong, they'll make fun of them and call them out on their bullcrap. That's how you know. I mean, not all people in Hollywood are bad, but majority of them are. But there's a few that, I mean, because of their honesty, I mean, people appreciate it that they're still in Hollywood.
Yeah. I'm
And that's
thinking.
growing. I mean, that trend of just people spin the truth in Hollywood. Instead of it offending people, I mean, people are actually loving it.
Right.
That's why those types of comedians that are just going with the agenda, I mean, those ones are kind of boring now. When you look at it from the perspective of people my age, that's boring.
Right.
They want the offensive stuff. The more offensive it is, the better it is for people my age.
I hear
It's
you.
funny how it is. No, but
Hey, Harriet, how are you?
some hope.
Project Relentless Pursuit. Oh, is that what you were talking about though, Miss? Was the 8 indictments? That's the only thing that I could think of. Oh, goodness sakes. Yeah, okay. I'm making sure that we were both on the same page. Because, I mean, a lot of stuff happens and I can miss some stuff. But I do try to stay abreast on everything. Yeah, AG Bar's on it, that's for sure. So is there anything interesting happening in California since all this, I think since Virginia has stole y'all's thunder?
You know, the funny thing about California is that it's not only normal. I mean, every once in a while we'll have serious issues every few years, but most of the time it's all hype.
Right.
It's literally all the issues, everything you see in the news, the big issues about California, what's going wrong here, it's literally in the big cities. It affects the little cities too because the little cities are in the state of California, so they still have to go under those state laws. But it's mainly the big cities where there's always problems. But California as a whole is normally always fine. So other than like mainstream news, like we have our fires and then we have the power outages going out for a while, for like a good week or so. But that was the first time that's happened in my 27 years here. So that's not normal. That was the first time ever that anything like that happened. But everything's pretty much always normal here. We never had anything serious. So of course the earthquake in like what was it, 89, but California, literally nothing. It's been my entire life. We've never had anything big, which kind of worries me at the same time. That's a good and bad thing. We've never had anything bad happen here in California. And it's a matter of time, and very rarely does a person go their entire life without experiencing something, whether it be a natural disaster or whatever.
I don't know. I think there's been a lot of.
This is gonna be one of the first places that happens.
I think there's a lot of stuff that's happened in California. I think it's always happening in California.
Well, maybe I'm just desensitized to it, which is what they're trying to do. Oh,
Right.
It's normal. It's always happening. It's normal. It's no big deal. So maybe I'm minimizing things and just thinking it's no big deal. Well, you guys, it's a big deal, but to me, it's just California. Maybe that's what it is.
Right. Marley says the president is addressing. Are you got the president on, Mom?
Not yet.
He's not on yet.
No, I guess when I think about it, it's literally working. I'm desensitized to it.
Yeah, because you've had lots of stuff happen. I mean, you might not realize
Over
it.
the last 5 years, it's just become normal. It becomes a big deal, and it's not a big deal anymore. And anything that happens here, most of the time, is like, oh yeah, it's happening again. It's normal. Although it's a big deal. I didn't think about it. I mean, I noticed that first where I'm like, why is everybody thinking there's no big deal? And then now I'm like one of those people where it's like, yeah, another fire. Whatever. Even if it's up at my house, like there's been a few close ones in my area. Not recently, but that last way that we had when they were shut off the power. There was one island where it almost came down to like a paradise situation where if that one big bridge got cut off, they would have had to leave by boat. There was one fire on the island and then one fire near the bridge leaving the island. So if that one fire cut off the bridge and that fire on the island didn't get put out, they would have been screwed, whoever down the boat.
Right.
And they luckily got it out the bridge and then moved in from the bridge. But yeah, like I said, that kind of stuff, it's serious, but over time, once that happens so many times, they have the people and they see it on the news out of the state, it's a big deal, but to us, it's becoming California life.
It's the California norm. Is that what you're saying?
It's not a good thing, like I said. It's a good and bad thing because when it happens, you're not freaking out. You're calm. You think straight. At the same time, I mean, you might not be as prepared as you should be.
Marley, they're reporting of over a dozen, is what they're reporting so far.
Where though?
I think I read 2 bases, but I might have misread. I will go back and check it out. This says 2 Iraqi military bases that house U.S. troops.
Well, it won't surprise me because they do most of the stuff at night. And it's nighttime over there. Or in the early morning.
Right?
Yeah, it's probably early morning over there. They always do it at night or like 6 a.m., 8 a.m. They always do it. They never normally do it during broad daylight.
Yeah, according to I'm going by CNN. I'll check out and see if Fox says anything different. But this was the I have a breaking news app, and this was according to the breaking news app, and it just said that the Pentagon confirmed that they launched missiles at the U.S. military and coalition forces in Iraq. The Pentagon said that Iran has fired more than a dozen missiles at the 2 bases, and it says, let's see. I was trying to give you the name of the bases. It says the name of the bases in here. I'm just trying to scour just the names, though.
Yeah, I feel like nobody's going to back down at this point. And if somebody does back down, it's going to be because they get hit so hard that they have to back down. And I feel like at that point, somebody else is going to step in to help because they got beat down so hard.
Right. Ain al-Assad was one of the bases. That's where there's casualties at, I believe.
I mean, look at the trend over the world. The U.S. is always forcing people to do things. The U.S. is always doing things by force. The U.S. doesn't give you an option.
And the
Right.
herbal basis
This is
was the
evil.
other one. Right.
So
The U.S.
it's
is,
like I said, it's getting at a point where, I mean, now it's just Iran and Iraq.
right.
Not directly, but indirectly, their militias and little other forces fighting back. Yeah, it's going to get to a point where it's them themselves, and then they're going to get their butts starting to get whooped, and then that if Russia and China get involved, especially Russia, I mean, all it takes is Russia, and then that's when something starts.
Okay, and it still is only saying, I went to Fox News, and they actually have something on here, and it just says that there's been a dozen ballistic missiles into Iraq targeting U.S. military coalition forces used early Wednesday. The missiles targeted military bases in Al-Assad and Erbil. In the Pentagon added that there were no immediate word on injuries, but now we did have an update on the injuries. They said that there was casualties, but they haven't said. And that's all I've got though so far, guys.
Do you say into Iran?
From Iran.
Exactly, it's a back and forth, and you know how back and forths go.
Mm-hmm. That's
They get
it.
bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It's all about who can do more damage until the other person quits. And you know, U.S. is the bigger man. Russia knows U.S. is the bigger man. Iraq and Iran even know U.S. is the bigger man, yet they're fighting up for what they stand for. China, the EU, everybody in the world knows who the bigger man is. And if the U.S. keeps beating them down, like I said, we become the enemy. I mean, people start we make ourselves look bad, and especially the way Democrats are doing it too. Like Trump is a dictator, he's doing this, he shouldn't be doing this, telling other countries how bad he is. It's not us, it's him. We need to get rid of him.
Well, don't you
It's
think?
all set up.
But don't you think that
It's
we?
all set up.
I mean, come on now. Don't you think that we have the right to have stricken back? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They killed an
Yeah,
American
but,
contractor and then they destroyed our base. You know, and I really was getting upset.
Manipulation.
I was
Human
getting
manipulation. It's so easy to manipulate people.
right. And see, and I'm getting a
It's
kind
all
of.
a game.
I don't know who wrote that article on Zero Hedge. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that author.
Like I said, I see the game for what it is. It's literally a game.
It's the propaganda that they continue to push out because they want you to believe that
Politics
it's all Trump's
is a
fault.
complicated game.
Yeah, they want you to believe that it's all Trump's fault, and it's not.
Yeah.
And I'm so
Yeah.
sorry,
No, that doesn't
but
matter. That doesn't matter if it's not.
we have watched it. But yet you'll hear everyone will flip it because they listen.
Even though that's the truth, and that's how it is, they can portray it to the public as he's the bad man, and they'll get away with it.
Right.
To the stupid people, they'll get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what they're counting on. The stupid people, there's enough of them.
That's it.
So it's not hard to fool those people.
Well, it's truly disgusting and sad, to say the least, I think.
No, it is how.
But to see so
it
many
is, but
people
to do this.
go so blindly along with all of this.
No, I mean, how easy they can get away with doing this to people. How people
Yeah.
go along with it and believe it. And they don't, like I said, they don't think for themselves and see right through it for what it is. They just go along with it without giving a second thought. They're like, well, that's what the government said. They just go with it. That's what they said.
That's it. We're Sheppel. We'll just follow whatever you say. And that's what they do. And they listen to the
If you think
mainstream
about it,
media and they continue to push this stupid narrative.
You stop thinking about it.
Right.
Trust them. Why are you thinking about it? You don't trust them? They're the government. They're right. Why do you think about it? Are you down them? Then they guilt trip you, shame you. Government is always right. You shouldn't be down them. Don't think about it. Just listen to what they say and do it. Don't think
Right.
about it.
It's crazy.
Is that type of mindset. That
It's
they're trying
very
to-
frustrating.
Don't think about it. Just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it.
It's extremely frustrating. I'm like, if you, I don't know if y'all could hear the screaming and the cussing in there earlier, but I don't know what was going on, but everybody was getting upset in my mama's room watching TV, listening to them talk about the Iran, bombing and everything else. And everyone's in there screaming. They just need to, wipe them off the face of this earth,
Well,
just.
I could imagine your mom and your husband going off in there.
Yeah, they was going pretty good, but Tim come out of there, thank goodness. He went downstairs. But yeah, they were going pretty good over it. They were getting irate. And I mean, there's nothing you can do about it except for sit back and pray. That's about the most you can do, and and just hope for the best.
No, what just pisses me off is what I see on social media, what people say about Trump. It was people want to happen.
Right.
This is like there's a few big tele channels. I mean, most of them I stopped listening to, but there's a few good ones that kind of talk about everything, not just the big tele topic, but what's going on in the world too. And most of them, naturally, they're traditional, so therefore they're right wing. They're not leftist. They're traditional. I mean, they just want the good old fashioned lifestyle, have normal life. But they talk about those stupid leftists supporting all these stupid countries that are fighting against Trump. They're saying those people are acting like when, say, Iran invades, Russia invades, China invades, those people are acting like when they all get here, oh, I support Pelosi, oh, I support Dianne Feinstein, oh, I support Obama, I support Schiff, I'm safe. No, they're all dying too.
Right.
They're Americans. It's not about they're Democrat or they're Republicans. They're Americans. They're dying too. That's what they don't get. These people are pushing for their own deaths at the same time. They're supporting, Trump, and support Russia, China, etc. Anybody else but Trump. Trump is basically helping America and the American people, and they're working against them because they believe they're going to be saved by the other countries that are going to come here and take Trump out and put Democrats in charge. And it's like, no, you're still Americans. It doesn't matter who you're supporting, but that's what they don't get. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that. Like, the leftists literally think they're safe. I support this side, so I'm safe.
It's the most insane.
No, we're all not safe.
Yeah, and to know that in the midst of all this war, we've got people here trying to unarm citizens.
Yep. And they don't realize those are the people that are going to save them. The Republicans are going to keep their guns. If they finally come here, those are the people that are going to be able to defend them. The people with guns. The people that they were trying to take the guns away from.
Right. Exactly. That's it. And here you want to try to unarm us so that, but maybe that's what they want. They want us to be invaded.
They're all being tricked. No,
I don't know.
People, don't think about it. Just do it.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. The government says guns are bad. Orange man bad. Get rid of Orange Man. Get rid of guns. They do what they're told. Simple as that.
That's it.
On the sheet.
Has anybody else heard? I haven't checked in a couple of days because I've been really contained with all the stuff going on in the Middle East. But has anyone heard anything else about the situation down there in Mexico on the border of Laredo in Texas? I haven't heard anything else except for about that murder there. On that situation.
It's been pretty quiet on the border.
It died back down. I mean, because they had like it said it was a gun battle.
And that's normally when you want to look out for it the most is when it comes out and then it goes quiet. It's either no big deal or it's a big deal.
Oh, I'm saying it's a big deal.
It's one or the other.
I say it's a big deal because we haven't heard anything else. And
well, it's normally one of the two. Is either they come out with it and it wasn't as big of a deal as they thought, and it's nothing, and that's that, or it's a big deal and then you don't hear from it. There's no one of the two, but yeah, with anything, almost anything from the border, especially when it comes down to Americans getting killed on the border, that's a big deal, especially with the recent events. So most likely, it's covered up. There's a reason why they're not updating it. Most likely.
DEFCON warning on Twitter. Okay, I'm gonna check out DEFCON warning to see. I'm just telling you what the news thing is reporting, Marley. But I will check out DEFCON. I don't have an issue in that, girl. Let me see. Because I'm curious. I mean, and I know that mainstream media is really slowly to give us news. The White House is preparing for a possible address by the president as Iran threatens to attack America if the U.S. responds to missile attacks. Iran threatens to attack inside America. Oh my God. Let them attack. I'm ready. Are you ready? Let them attack. Please, Mr. President, don't back down from these stupid fools. Do not be bullied. I hope
He won't.
everybody that is
He won't
out.
do it.
Did you guys hear that?
He won't do it.
Okay. According to, this is a live update from CNN, I think. It says the White House is preparing for a possible address by the president as Iran threatens to attack inside America if the U.S. responds to missile attacks. Let me, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said in its Telegram channel that in the event,
Do it.
In the event Iranian soil is bombed, it will target the cities of Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Hafrai, Israel in the third wave of operations. A video from Iran's Far News shows the movement in Iran that says ballistic missiles hit al-Assad base in Iraq. Iran threatens to, in its Telegram channel, Iranian Revolutionary Guard also says that the Pentagon reports that the U.S. will respond to Iran's attacks. The IRG then says in a footnote, this time we will respond to you in America. Yeah. And I'm telling Mr. President, don't back down.
Hey, did you see what Iran did?
Don't back down.
Did you see what Iran did?
What do you think I've been reporting on? My son gonna come up. Did you see what Iran did? Like, I haven't been reporting on it.
It's a smoke screen.
A smoke screen. A smoke screen for what? My son think
Iran's doing something else.
he says Iran's doing something else. I don't think Iran's doing nothing else but trying to hit.
Yeah, I think they're setting up everything they can to attack
Yes.
or defend themselves, attacking or defend.
Okay,
They're coming.
they coming. My son says they coming. I don't know where he thinks they coming to, but he said they's coming, and he ran out the door. That was my oldest. That's what he said. He said, they coming. And he just left. That's what I said. Tell him come get some. That's what I say. I ain't scared. I'm not scared. My mom says she's got a ball bat for him.
Even if they take out the power, guns don't need power.
Well, we understand. We know that where they're all at, and I've been updating the map, trying to get people to.
The Iranians.
I think Iran is blowing smoke. I think Iran is blowing smoke too, JR. That's why I said, President, please don't back down. That's my message to the president. Don't back down.
Iran ain't throwing no smoke. They coming. Watch.
I think Iran might become smoke. I think so too, Colleen.
Hey, what I tell you?
Oh, you want to come tell your dream?
What did I tell you?
Go on. You.
I'm right.
No, you're wrong.
I'm right.
My son had a dream a couple of months back, and he didn't want to tell nobody because he was like, "Oh, people think I'm crazy."
It's coming. I told you I ran. And don't roll your eyes like I ain't tell you I ran.
I didn't. Yeah, they should be. That's what I say too, JR. Let them come, right? Everybody, I mean, I'm not scared. I really am not. I have the fire of God and I'm protected. And if not, guess what? I will go meet my maker and I'll be dancing in heaven. I will not be bullied. I will not.
Well, your son's probably my age, huh?
He is 34.
Oh, damn.
I have a,
Oh,
my baby's older than you.
Yeah, I thought he was like in his 20s. Yeah, 34.
Yeah, I have, my baby's 29. He'll be 30 this year.
Oh, crap. Maybe he's still young again.
Huh?
I was feeling old, but you made me feel young again.
Yeah, see? That's my baby. Oh no, we want the DEF CON. Let's see. According to this, we're at that one, guys. We're at DEF CON 2. Now I don't know. I'm gonna go to the other DEF CON thing because I'm not getting any.
I just seen a troop transporter fly right over the house.
You saw a what?
A troop transporter.
A troop transporter, a Chinook?
No, wasn't a Chinook, it was a big one.
Oh, it's a big plane,
Yeah, and it was low too.
and it was low. My stepdad just said that he just saw a low flying transporter plane. I don't know if you heard that. Brandy says she's older too. Well, according to this one, it still says DEFCON's 5, but I don't buy that, guys. I'm not seeing an article that says that they've hit 3. So I'm still not seeing, I'm not seeing any update, girlfriend. I see a day ago article, on the DEF CON thing. So I don't know where they're getting their, unless it's DEF CON that's, oh, it does say it. I see it now. It says a third military base at Taha has been hit by Iranian missiles. Getting reports of a new wave IRBM's launches from Iran, targets unknown. I do see it, guys. So it is being reported from DEF CON. Let me see if I can find anything else. Sometimes you have to,
What about that to put in the keywords into the search? So
yeah,
that
I
we-
am. I'm Iranian. Are you guys getting that report, Mom? Iranian has hit a third base. Huh? I'm talking about on Twitter. Okay, it still says staying on 2 bases. 12 minutes ago. I'm not getting an official thing. It just says Iran attacks 2 Iraqi base missiles housing U.S. forces in revenge for Soleimani's death. 2 minutes ago. Let me see. Now, Iran has launched more than a dozen missiles. We know that hit 2 military. CNN has some pretty good update too. I mean, they have like 5 minutes ago, but they haven't mentioned a third base. Now, I will say that Marley was right. It does say that it has hit a third base. It does say that on DEF CON. I'm going to see if breaking news has it, but sometimes they put out something and they don't follow it with anything more than that. But we will see. Live. What time was Trump supposed to go on? Does anyone know? News Live. Does anybody know what time he was supposed to go speak?
All it said is he might address the nation.
Well, tonight is the day he is supposed to address the nation that Pelosi invited him to, right?
I don't know, but I'm hearing a lot of things about it.
I'm not seeing. Are you able to look too, Josh, and see if you can find anything? I am not finding any.
I'm looking, but not seeing anything.
Oh, okay. I am not I mean, I found it where it said on DEF CON that there was a third base attack, but I'm not finding anything to support it other than that, Marley.
I just found something 6 minutes ago. Iran launches missile attacks on bases in Iraq housing troops, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not I mean, and I hate that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was already covered.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to be able to confirm this. You need more everything. I hear you, JR. I hear you. I hear you, JR. They need to, right? Go knock on a Democrat's door too first, or go.
Yeah, so it sounds like so far there's no retaliation. That Iran shot missiles at a U.S. base in Iraq, and there's been no retaliation from our side.
Yeah, but the Esper came out and said there is going to be retaliation.
Well, probably going to be, but nothing right now.
Yeah, right now I mean they're having incoming, so I don't think they'll be able to, casualties. I don't know if I know there's casualties, but we don't know if what kind of casualties, Brandy. The report said earlier on CNN that there were casualties, but but what kind of casualties was yet not known. I'll go back and check that CNN. I mean, I don't like CNN, but like I said, they usually are. I mean, they put out stuff quicker than Fox does. I don't know why.
I mean, with that type of news, it's hard to.
And I don't like CNN, but
accurate. So when you come out with it, you want to be accurate.
Right.
When you do that, all the major news sources kind of come out with that at the same time. That's why when you see certain news come out, all the sources pretty much post it at the same time.
Well, Fox doesn't, though.
Yeah, like I said, there's nothing so far, but I guarantee you, if there's retaliation, it's all gonna come out and pretty much roughly.
Oh yeah, Fox will probably have somebody on hand tonight, 24/7.
On the on-field reporting, there literally almost is none because that's a war zone.
Right.
You're not gonna have reporters on the war zone just for the sake of live news. You're gonna get it passed down from the troops to the generals or the commanders in charge or whatever, and then they're gonna pass it down to the superiors, and the superiors are gonna let the media know. That's normally how it goes. And times like this where journalists and reporters can't be in the middle of a firefight or rocket fight.
Right.
In this case.
It's insane that I can't get any confirmation, Marley. DEF CON just updated. Okay, let me go back and check DEF CON.
you can't get immediate news because it has to be passed down. And not only that, you never know whether you're getting 100% of it because it has to be passed down through like 4 or 5 different sources. And you know some of the information is going to be held back by the time it gets to the public.
I was talking with the police chief, told her if she comes to get them, I will cut you in. Ooh.
And that's the problem with situations like this.
Now what are we talking about, Liz Jones, what are we talking about, Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ? I'm not quite sure what's going on over here.
I'll look at the channel quick.
Okay. I'm looking for, the update. She said there was an update. Let me see. What did the update say, Brandy?
Oh, Liz Jones are just saying that randomly. I don't know how that came from.
It still just says a third military base was hit. I am going to go check out Al Jazeera, though. That is a good thought. They actually do have pretty up-to-date.
You see what JR said?
Yeah, but Iran still says only 2 U.S. facilities, and they're live. So Iran is still saying only 2. Marley, apparent break in military action at the moment confirmed 3 target hit in Iraq, outside Tajah and Erbil. Ha, they hit Tahaj. Okay, I got you. Okay, and I did say Al-Assad and Erbil, so they hit Tahaj too? Okay, where did you get it? Is that from DEF CON on Twitter? Let me see. Going to be an interesting year. Yeah, to say the least. I'm not seeing it. Let's see. Go back to my thing over here. See. Because this stupid thing, it jumps. It has 38 minutes, 47. Then it'll go to, okay, let's go back to the top. One new update. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That was weird. We was talking and it went busy. Al-Assad. What happened?
I was gonna order some food and I accidentally hung up.
Oh, I was like, I got a busy signal. That ain't never happened.
Yeah, no, we were calling each other at the same time. Yeah, I was trying to order food and then I actually hung up the call for some reason.
Oh. I'm still not seeing no confirmation over here, guys, on this other,
I've been using my other phone to look stuff up too, and I haven't seen anything.
yeah. Even Al Jazeera is just saying 2 Iraqi bases. I think that yes, Harriet, you can call. Okay. Hey, MG. Oh goodness.
Yeah, you want to call on the phone?
You want? Yeah. I was gonna ask you. Call me on the hotline, the conference call, and you can talk with Harriet.
Hotline.
Yeah, the hotline. Call the hotline. Call me on the hotline. Yeah, I'm putting the number in chat in case you don't still have it.
All right.
Okay. Call me right back. 511. Okay, you just emailed me. Okay, so hold on. I'm trying to 605-313-5111. Okay, guys. I hated that it takes so long for me to get Host in Colorado took it. Okay, guys. We're good to go. Hey. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna turn you up.
Hi.
Okay.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can, and I think everybody else can too. Hit 1 if you can hear her. Say something else. I don't know that they even heard.
Okay.
There's such a delay though. Okay. He's gonna mess up the stream. You got to call the you got to call the conference number, silly. Not my cell phone. Call the conference line. Hold on just a second. I got to run to the bathroom, guys.
Okay.
Call the conference number, Josh. 605 number with the access code. You can talk until I get back.
How's everybody doing tonight? A lot of news out there tonight, huh? I'm currently driving home from my temporary job. Nice and cold here in Chicago. Hope you guys aren't too cold where you are. A lot of information really pouring in fast now. I will wait for Renee so that I can tell you guys about something I saw on Facebook just in the last couple of days, something I found very disturbing, and I reported to Facebook. I tried looking before I left work, and the site that the video was on has been taken down. But I don't know, when I tell Renee about this, I kind of want to see if anybody else happened to have this video come across their stream. I mean, it was a group I've never heard of before. I don't subscribe to them. I'm not sure why it came across my feed. Otherwise, because I'm driving, I can't look at the chat, so I can't see if anybody's saying anything. I would like to ask you guys tonight with a prayer, if Renee has time to do the prayer group tonight. My husband's coworker, his name is Ophir. He's been in the United States now for 20 years. He is a U.S. citizen from Iraq. He just left 3 days ago to go and get his wife, who is now coming over to be a U.S. citizen. And he has a U.S. passport. He's renounced everything with Iraq. And if you could please say a prayer for his safety. We're very afraid that he may not be let out of the country with all this going on now. We're hoping he does not get stuck there. So if you could please say a prayer for him. He's a good guy, works for the U.S. Postal Service. He's a hardworking guy. He loves being an American. He's proud to be an American. And like I said, we just really fear for his safety at this time. And that he returns back to the United States with his wife, his bride, and everything turns out okay. Also, please say a prayer for all of our troops over there and their families back here that are probably going out of their minds tonight. I've never done this before, so I'm trying to think of things to talk about. Well, Renee is indisposed.
I'm back, but I wasn't going to
hi.
interrupt. But you're so
We have
good.
Josh- We don't have Josh yet.
Josh, are you on the line? No, he's not on yet.
Okay. Did you hear me talking about my husband's coworker?
Something I heard bits and pieces of it. Something about somebody is from another country. I didn't hear what country, and he has a visa, but he had to go back or something.
He's a U.S. citizen. He's been here 20 years. He works for the Postal Service with my husband.
Right.
His name is Asir. He just left a couple of days ago. His wife has finally been approved for citizenship, and she's coming back with him. So they're over there. He's over there now with a U.S. passport. He's renounced all ties and citizenship to Iraq. With all of this going on, we're fearful that he may not.
Ah, I gotcha.
So if everyone could keep him in their prayers that he returns to us safely. He's such a great guy. He's so proud to be an American. We fear for what might happen while he's there. But the one thing I wanted to talk about was I started telling everybody while you were away. A couple of days ago on Facebook, I had a video come across my screen, in my stream.
Mm-hmm.
And in this video, it showed a Arab gentleman parachuting out of what looked like a private plane. And he never deployed. It's like a simulation kind of a video.
Right.
He never deployed the parachute. And what was in the backpack was a dirty bomb. And it shows it going off in Manhattan from the air. So if they're saying that they can attack on our soil, I'm almost afraid that this might be how they plan on doing it. I don't know why this came across. It was after the general was killed. I can't pronounce his name. I did report the video to Facebook. I had written down the name of the Facebook page. The page has been taken down.
Yeah, Josh is saying he's not getting through, just so you know. So go ahead and continue. If he gets in, he'll let us know. We'll hear him click in. But it's saying it won't let
I
him.
don't want to keep you very long either because there's so much going on.
Yeah,
But,
no, you're good.
If what you saw with DEFCON 4, if that's the military DEFCON 4, this is very serious.
Well, it goes backwards.
Right. The military goes backwards. 5 is the worst.
Okay, so I thought 1 was the worst because 1 says imminent danger nuclear strike. The other says 5 is neutral. The
Right.
I'll show it again. I do have a couple of things though that I was going to. Now, she tweeted me and said that DEFCON warning system. She emailed me the link, and it says apparent break-in in the military action for the moment confirmed 3 targets hit in Iraq: Al-Assad, Taji, and the U.S. consulate in Erbil. No American casualties reported so far. Iran is threatening to escalate their attacks into other countries if the U.S. retaliates. And which I read you guys that that thing, the countries they said they would attack. Israel was one of them. I don't think Israel's worried about them, to be honest, but you never know. Israel's always striking somebody themselves. So, I mean, someone said I'm buffering bad. Refresh drain, because I'm not buffering on my end. I don't know if anybody else is buffering, but I have it on a different device and I am not buffering, so I'm not sure. Oh, you've missed a lot, Joey. There he is. Is that you, Josh?
You had me going crazy.
He's on.
Put 313 for Harriet's link, and then for my link, you put 303.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
What was going on? And then I was like, I'm going to check and see what she posted above. See if there's any difference.
I didn't even catch it. I'm sorry.
313. I was like, no,
No wonder.
not 303.
Okay, JR. Well, I'm going to try and keep everybody updated on what's going on as much as I can. I'm not getting anything out of Al Jazeera. I might can go check out Time of Israel. They usually give pretty good updates too. And who else gives really good updates? I can get information from Times of Israel, Al Jazeera, English Alibria, and also from Sputnik News before I get it from any U.S. source.
I usually get a pretty good response too with BBC.
BBC, yeah, BBC's pretty good too.
But yeah, I did. Josh, did you hear what we were talking about?
A little bit. I was trying to.
The video that I wanted.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of it.
Anybody in the chat room, if you also got that video across your Facebook stream, hit one. I'm curious if anyone
on Facebook. No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's asking if anybody else has seen that. She wants you to hit one. No, I'm not in Michigan, Drain. That's just the conference call number that I have. I'm in Indiana.
Yeah, I was just curious if it came across anyone else's stream. I do have two other friends who got it coming across their stream as well. And they were horrified at the video they saw too. Because it was definitely indicated that there could be a possible attack on our soil using a dirty bomb.
Right.
And I don't. Their simulations seem to show that it could take out pretty much most of Manhattan, a good portion of it looked like it hit around. I know Manhattan pretty well. Around Midtown, possibly Madison Square Garden, which is a little closer, or a little further south towards the Village. But it looked like it pretty much expanded out to probably halfway up Central Park to the north, and pretty close to the new World Trade Center, probably just outside of it. And like I said, with Iran threatening at the time, to see this suddenly come across my feed, I found it very disturbing. I didn't know who these people were. I don't know how they got on my stream. But like I said, I reported it to Facebook, and the page is down now.
That is pretty strange.
Yeah.
And I'm still not able to confirm that. And we might not be able to confirm that, Marley, in any kind of news article right yet, because an embassy is going to be categorized different than a base. Don't ask me why. Because it's going to be it's still I don't want to, how do you want to say it? It's hi Huflong. it's still a government entity, I guess you could say, but it's not it's not a military installment. And so maybe that's why they haven't updated it. But according to this one here, it just says Al Assad and Erbil. But Erbil's is the embassy, I think, that it hit. I don't know.
Wow.
Not quite sure. I just wish I could confirm the third base other than DEF CON. I mean, but it doesn't necessarily mean I won't be able to confirm it later. Yep. That's what we're talking about. Well, we've got Marley has sent me an email, and it says that a third base has been hit. There's the one in Al Assad, the one in Erbil, and then there's the one in Tajab that's been hit. And maybe that's what I need to look.
I'm looking here on the Department of Defense's website. They put out,
They say 5 days ago is the last one I see for Tajah, but when I do that. Okay, so you're looking where? The U.S. Defense. Have you seen it updated there? Have they do
yes,
they?
they just they have an update today as of 5:30 p.m.
And what? And it's
And they're only saying 2 bases as well.
right.
Al Assad and I can't pronounce this, Erbil.
Earbuild. Yeah, that's what we're saying. That's what I'm calling it. And
Yeah.
I don't like to say something and not be able to back it up with outside of the email now. I mean, and it's from DEF CON, and DEF CON usually does not give you know, a false news. I mean, I have not known them to give anything that wasn't true, but that doesn't mean that they can't, because they can give you some false propaganda at any point in time. But again, I will show you, this is the email. It came from well, there it just says DEF CON. If you guys can, it looks backwards to me, but see.
Well, the DOD says as soon as they get more information, they'll post updates.
Right.
But that was the most recent one at 5:30 Eastern Time. So
And
4:30 Central.
and that was posted at 7:31, the DEF CON one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. What do you think, Josh?
To be honest, I was just finishing orders with this.
You're funny, Josh. Okay, so does anybody else have any other updates that they know of that we have not covered yet? I mean, in your video, that is a rather alarming. So do you think that they were sending a message that that's what they were going to do?
That's the impression I got from the video. It had no comments with it. It just, for some reason, just popped up in my feed all of a sudden. And like I said, I couldn't understand where it came from. It wasn't shared from someone. It just popped up in my feed. And it kept replaying itself with this gentleman jumping out of a plane, with what looked like a backpack on his back, like he was skydiving, and the parachute never deployed. And the next thing you see is a big mushroom cloud over, and you could see as he's going down, I could tell he was over Manhattan, right around the center of Manhattan, which would be Midtown, around, say around 42nd Street area, Times Square. Now, I don't know if this is something that started circulating prior to New Year's Eve, trying to scare people out of going down to Times Square.
Right.
But it was interesting that this popped up after the general's assassination. within, I'd say, about 48 hours of his assassination.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's rather peculiar. I mean, I didn't see it. I have Facebook, but that doesn't mean anything because I don't get on Facebook a whole lot outside of just to check on my grandbabies. An explosion in central Baghdad. Explosions in central Baghdad. Okay, so where did you get the explosions in Baghdad, Jose? Jose is you're channel hopping ATM trying to get more info. I hear you, Hooflong. We know 2 bases have been hit with more than a dozen things. There's casualties, but we haven't been able to elaborate on what kind of casualties to that nature of any sort. But let's see if we can find an explosion now in Baghdad. Talk to me, it peoples.
Add something here. You were asking about a third hit, and I'm on a Facebook page called DEFCON Warning System.
Right.
DEFCON Warning Alerts.
Yeah.
It is saying that a third base at Tahaj, T-A-J-I, has been hit.
Yeah, that's
That
what.
was an hour ago.
Yeah, and that's what it's saying on mine as well. But it says 42 minutes ago. But I mean, but it says the 3rd military base at Tahaj, but it doesn't give you anything else. But I can't get it. I can't get more confirmation, and I have not found an article that says that there's been an explosion. I just checked. There's not anything updating there. I will go to Al Jazeera and I will go to
And this DEFCON Warning System page is showing that we're currently at 5.
Okay.
But the staff is assessing the situation. The reports that we were at 2 or possibly even 1 are irresponsible reporting. That's what they're reporting on this page. So I kept hearing we've been at 3 for the last couple of days. So how could we suddenly be at 5?
Yeah, no, and see, and that's okay. So now go to see, this is what I'm saying. There's 2 conflicting things, okay? There's a red tab over here, but there's 2 conflicting things. You go and you look up DEFCON level warning system and just type in DEFCON level, and it's going to take you to a different thing. And it says our DEFCON level thing updated is A2.
Good.
So I'm not sure. And it was a 3 yesterday on this one.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that is giving a definitive number as of right now.
Okay, use liveviewmap.com with a dot, not a. Okay, liveviewmap. Okay.
Yeah, it's saying that he come possibly.
Huh?
He was saying that he couldn't possibly. But I forgot that only miles could possibly.
liveviewmap.com. Ukraine. We don't want Ukraine. liveviewmap.com. Okay, I'm going to go to liveviewmap.com, but I don't want Ukraine, I'm sure. Live map. We want live satellite map view. Live satellite view. Let's see what we can get here. Directions online. We want, Iraq. Okay, but it gives me some other places other than just, I have to click on one of them, but we don't know. What was the name of that one base, guys?
Which one? The third one?
Uh,
TJI?
Taij,
One?
Taij,
No, TAJI.
Taji. This is weird, guys. But it's not giving me anything. I mean,
No.
it's not giving a live update. They've probably already cut satellite, because I can't imagine them letting us watch. I'm not seeing anything here, though. I mean, that would suggest that there's been an attack there, to be honest. Okay, I got him. You want your inch back for a minute? I knew you would come back to it. Okay, you're a moderator, Hooflung. Yeah, remember MG? He told me to take it back. Now he wants it back. I gotcha. Okay, so drop your link. Okay, cool beans. What was that? I hate it when I can't think of things. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, and they're attacking them in the daylight, which is kind of unusual, isn't it? I mean, I think it's dark now, but
I think it's early dawn, possibly there.
there aren't they almost a day ahead of us?
Yeah, it's pretty much early morning over there, I think. Because what the UK is ahead, like California, by 9 hours, I think. I'm pretty sure it's 3 hours ahead of Eastern time.
Yes, these attacks would have been at night. It's currently 5:09 a.m. and
Okay, good deal. I have no clue. I think they're like a day ahead, so that's what I always say. They're a day ahead of us. Fox News said no American casualties. Okay, good deal. It's useful to.
It's about 12, 14 hours ahead, right there.
yeah, it's
Hopefully this will take me to a
5:06
different
in the morning on
page,
the
but
8th
if
of
not-
January.
It did. Okay.
Yeah, so it's
They
less than 11.
did attacks in the dark of the night.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was saying earlier. They normally attack early morning at the latest. Normally nighttime or early morning. They normally don't do during their day attack.
Oh wow. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm gonna.
I'm going to hang up because I am at home. I need to feed the husband.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna try and show everybody this map that I just clicked on.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you for calling and giving me that that info about that video. That is peculiar. I don't know anything about it, but I am going to check it out. So thank you. I don't know if you guys can see that. I got to try and stay plugged in though. I don't want to.
What is that, the area that's being bombed?
Yeah, it's a map and it just shows you where things have happened. And over here, it says the Pentagon, Iran launches a major attack on forces in Iraq. The Pentagon, Iran attack on U.S. military bases in Iraq, and another base in the city of Erbil. Photos show an Iranian missile landed near the Erbil military base with casualties, without any casualties. The DOD's,
I noticed all this.
what?
Israel hasn't really played a part in this at all.
No, and Netanyahu said this was America's fight.
News at all.
Yeah, and they said it was America's fight. But this is a pretty cool map. That map was not with the one I was at.
Trump, but not Israel. I've never seen Israel in an article ever since all this stuff happened in the last few days. It's just Trump in America, but it's specifically Trump. But Israel has caused all this crap in the Middle East. I mean, there's a reason why they're all teaming up against the United States and Israel. And they're all starting with Russia and China.
Right. Oh yeah.
It just seems like Trump is taking the fall and Israel is just sitting back and waiting to see what happens without taking the fall for it. Trump will, America will.
Just trying to show you guys all this cute little map that I got. Thanks to Hooflong. Thank you, Hooflong. You're the man.
That's a good map.
That is a good map. I'm gonna have to.
It seems pretty accurate. I mean, that's a pretty big zone,
Right.
but it's pretty accurate.
Yeah. I mean, it appears to be almost.
We're exaggerated. It's a really, really, really big zone, but it's still pretty accurate because I would say like 50 to 75% of that is where most of the action is going to be happening. The potential, I mean.
Okay. Now. Okay.
Airstrike zone.
So this is where I think we're getting like the third base being hit. Earlier today, they had hit Taji or Tajai, however you want to say that, with 5 rockets. We reported that earlier. This little thing here is not saying that any more rockets have been hit here. So I'm just wondering if they're not including that from earlier. And there hasn't been anything else. And,
It's hard to keep track of it live.
and they're saying that 13 rockets have hit the Al-Assad base. And then this just says that it shows an Iranian missile landed near the Erbil military air base, which hosts the KTCC U.S. Battalion without any casualties. And 2 suspected PKK militiants were killed. And see here, there are casualties among the Iraqis at the Ain al-Assad air base following the attack. So there are, that says from CNN sources, which that's what we read earlier, but there hasn't been any update as to what kind of casualties yet. And I continue to go back to CNN because CNN's the only one reporting that there's casualties. So I'm not sure. I don't know what we got going over here. And this is where they're giving out their threats over here. And they're saying so basically they want us to just continue to take in all this attack on us. They want us to leave the area, and I guess that'll be the end of it, which I doubt very seriously, but that's what they're trying to say. They want us out of the area. And if not, they're going to start bombing other countries, which is crazy.
No, and even if we did do that, they hold grudges.
Yeah, we're not going to bow to them.
That won't be the end of it because they hold grudges. things go.
Yeah.
I mean, in the moment they do. But, I mean, long term.
And just so everyone knows, Trump is not speaking
The
now.
smart enemy knows not to react right away, but, I mean, plan accordingly. I mean, time can put things in place perfectly.
Right. It looks like it's going to be a long night, guys. And I haven't eaten dinner, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep an eye on everything.
Myself.
I'm going to grab me a bite to eat. And I know you were ordering food, so you need to probably eat. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah. So I say, let's all eat. I'm got to have Bible study in about 15 minutes, maybe 20 or so. And keep an eye on oil prices, by the way. I hear you, Hooflong. So that means everybody, if you can, go fill up.
Yeah, and keep it even as soon as it gets halfway. I hate people that are just like, oh no, I'll just wait. It's like, okay, would you rather pay $80 to fill back up?
I don't know, Deb.
Would you rather pay 30 or 40 at halfway and fill back up? And only that, your fuel pump will last almost 2 times longer because it doesn't have to work as hard. People don't think about stuff like that.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you, Deb, this. I think that they wouldn't report the deaths to protect, just so that they wouldn't give the Iranians satisfaction. I think if there was anybody even hurt, that I don't think that they would tell them. But who knows? I mean, who really knows at this point in juncture?
Well, like I told you earlier, that type of news gets passed down.
Yeah,
Tiers of people.
Yeah.
By the time it finally gets to the public, it's already been censored so much. It's already been picked apart so much.
Right. And yes, I am coming. I am going to come back after I eat, and we'll have Bible study. And depending on what all is happening at that time, I might just stay live. And then if not, if there's any news breaking, we'll stay live. But if there's not, I'll probably take a nap and just listen for my alerts, because I do have alerts.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be overnight, or it's going to be tomorrow during the day, whenever it gets nighttime over there.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Right.
I mean, if it's really that bad, it's going to continue when we're sleeping. But if it's not that bad, then there'll be a break, and then they'll go again. It's really that bad, but I don't know. I'm really curious to see if it's serious or not. I mean, so far it seems like it's serious, but it's all about, how committed they are. If it continues and continues and continues and they don't let up.
Well, we're going to retaliate. We're not going to. We're not going to bow to them.
Good. Yeah, back and forth never goes good. So that's what I'm curious about, because it only escalates. It's not like it's just equal hits. It's always one-upping each other in the back and forth. So that's what I'm worried about, is because of that, it's going to escalate.
Right.
They're going to be hitting each other's harder and harder and harder.
Well, now the FAA is reported they have issued an emergency restriction for the Persian Gulf airspace. So the FAA issues an emergency restriction for Persian Gulf airspace, citing potential for miscalculation or misidentification.
Yeah, so it's literally just pretty much military aircraft going through there. And even the military aircraft going through there has to be authorized, most likely.
Yep.
And that's about it.
Yep.
Really about it.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
If you're not authorized to be in that airspace, you get shut down, it sounds like.
Right. So I'm gonna say that that article, that DEFCON that they put out, they included the Taj because of the 5 missiles earlier today. Because there were 5 missiles that hit that base earlier. So I'm going to say that they're blocking that in there. There hasn't been a new strike since these two, but because that strike was earlier today, they're counting that in. And that's what I'm going to say. Because that's the only thing that makes sense. Because we did report on the Taj base being hit today with 5 rockets. And we saw from that map how many times they'd been hit. That one base was 13 and just a couple at the other, but still. Anyway, guys, let me get something to eat, and I'll be back in a few, and we will pray and have Bible study, and we'll see what's going on.
All right.
All right. Bye, Josh. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
All right, bye. All right, guys. Again, when there's anything else to report, I will. And we have that lovely map, thanks to Huflong. They threatened to hit Dubai and Israeli town in a third strike if the U.S. retaliates. Yeah, but you know, Esper or Mike Pompeo already said we were going to retaliate. So who knows? But I don't believe we're going to bow down to them. That would be us submitting, saying we give because of a couple of bombs. I just don't believe that our president has wasted all this to say, oh, you win. But we'll see. But I do believe that there'll be strikes. So we'll just see how we go back at it. Anyway, we'll see you guys in a few. I'm going to eat. All right. I'll see y'all in a few. Thank you. And thanks again, Huflong.